All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Sorry that we were a couple minutes late. I guess we can go ahead and just give the reason.
Hashtag Tad is terrible.
No, we just, literally right as I was getting ready to go live, I realized Peter had not picked a topic for next week because we had the last slide of the episode. So that's my failing. I meant to text him earlier today to get the topic from him.
Completely forgot.
And I spaced it. So we didn't have a topic. So we literally, Peter did it on the fly. I told him he had 90 seconds to pick a topic so I could add the slide before starting.
Yeah.
That's why we're a little bit late. But yes, we are here now. Sorry we're a couple minutes late. But we are here for episode 11 of Geekery Abides as we now move past our first signpost and on. Now we won't have another signpost for a number of episodes till
40 more.
25
25, 50?
25, 50 for sure. But but here we're doing on the topic today, the main topic, which we'll get to in a bit, is going to be if we had a time machine, what movies would we go see opening night, premieres, whatever,
Opening weekend.
Yeah, I think I said opening night. I think some people may have said premiere as well. But that's the main topic. My name is Tad, and with me as always is Peter, maybe a little bit traumatized due to the end of the last Dark Tower episode we just did.
Yeah. Jerk.
Peter's still trying to recover mentally and emotionally from the end of the last episode of Dark Tower. So... but yeah, we are here. Let's go ahead and hit the intro, I guess, and then we'll dive into the I guess we don't have a lot of announcements, but we'll dive into emails and then what we've been watching, reading, playing. Let's go ahead and hit it.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
All right. Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Geekery Abides. On the podcast side, we're here getting ready to dive into main topic is going to be what movies we use a time machine to go see opening night. But yeah, we're here. I guess we should have done the intro after the thing for the
we're
podcast.
All aflutter because
I know
we had a rough ending to the end of our other podcast, Dark Tower Palaver, because Tad is terrible.
Well, I don't know about rough. I thought it was pretty hilarious.
He stabbed me in the heart.
Yeah, and then we realized, like, literally as we were supposed to be going live, that we hadn't picked a topic for the next episode. But yes,
and by we he means me. I dropped the ball.
No, legit. This morning, as I was finalizing slides, I got to text Peter and figure it out, and I completely spaced it to actually send you a text. So I'll take shared blame on that one. But yeah, we're here for this episode 11. We already technically did part of our intro before, which is, I don't know, whatever.
Do it again.
But yeah, and I'm Tad, and with me is Peter.
Hello.
And that is the main topic we're diving into. We'll go ahead and talk about, I've had to kill the slide, so I lost my little control box.
Not the control box.
For my slides, so I can't change my slides. Let me go ahead and change it now. And then get the screen back right. Okay, sorry, a lot of shenanigans. So email wise, if you want to email either of us, I actually had 2 emails since our last episode, which is only a week ago, because of Peter contracting illnesses. We bumped an episode, so we're back to back for the first time ever on this show.
Yeah,
the Dark Tower show. We've done that a number of times as need has pushed us or whatever. So it's kind of a normal thing if you're getting used to this. If you're new to this show and you haven't listened to the other one, it's not an unusual thing, especially in the summer, to move things around as vacations happen, and also illnesses. Honestly, I think we've had more illness stuff during the summer than we've ever had in like the winter or
I swear,
whatever.
I get sick once every summer that just like almost feels like I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
It happened last year. Remember, we had to move an episode last year because of it. So
it happens. So summers it happens, but yeah, good thing to maybe subscribe to us here. You'll always see that the dates move. If you're not following us on social media, I'll always post stuff there too, letting you know if something changes. But if you do follow us here on YouTube and like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, that'll let you know when our upcoming episodes are. I always try to keep at least a month's worth of episodes that are coming up in the feed, so you guys can kind of see what it is. And also, I love it because it always translates the times and tells you, no matter what time zone you're in, when our episodes are.
Yeah.
So contact us, though, because we do produce every other episode. The odd ones are me, which fits, right? Because I'm an odd.
You are an oddball.
I'm an odd fella. And then the evens are Peter. So if you have any feedback for us about previous episodes or something we've said or whatever, you can email either one of us directly. You can either email Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad at geekeryabides.com. Tad is TADD. Like I said, I had 2 emails even in the last week, which is it was pretty cool. So let's go ahead and dive into what have we been watching, reading, playing.
Mine's pretty straightforward. I read Roadwork in 1 week by Stephen King. It's pretty short. Listened to.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I said it yesterday, 9 hours and 37 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And we work 4 10s, so 10-hour days.
Yeah.
So I got through that in 1 week, you
Yeah.
know, between having to pause for like things that happen at work and stuff like that. But that's the only thing I've read in 1 week. I'm still playing 7 Days to Die. That's not going to change for a while. New update and everything like that. And then I saw 2 movies in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
On Thursday, we went and saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And then yesterday, you and I went and saw The Flash.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. So, yeah, same thing here, Flash and Indy 5. And then I am still, I don't know if I think I mentioned it, I'm watching The Wire, rewatching through that. I am currently in the heart of season 4, 4 out of 5, so I'm almost done, sadly.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. And then reading The Stand. I mentioned that last time.
Yep.
That hasn't changed. Video game-wise, I didn't put anything down because I don't think I've literally turned my consoles on since the last time we recorded. Because
It's only been a week.
Yeah, it's only been a week, but yeah, and
there usually is an off week in between. Off weekend, I should say.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, because the non-recording weekends for me are always a little bit more laid back and stuff, and playing video games and stuff usually happens more then than when we record. So this back-to-back one can sneak up on me and stop me from playing video games a lot. So,
That's what my wife says. She's been watching Scrubs. Been watching. Also, her favorite streamer is Jeremy Dooley. Reading, listening to, off and on, she's been listening to The Dry by Jane Harper. And playing, she's weird, and she just plays a mobile game. But she's excited for a new game called Viewfinder that I just showed her the trailers for today and said that I'm going to buy it for her, depending on the price, when it comes out in 2 weeks. It comes out on the 18th.
You know, one thing I thought about while doing the prep
Yeah.
over the last couple days, have either of us played that Charlie Killer Train game?
Charlie the Choo Choo?
No, that's the name of the from Dark Tower.
Choo Choo Charles.
Choo Choo.
Choo
Whatever
Choo
it
Charles.
is, yeah. I haven't played it yet. Did you buy it?
I have not bought it. It's funny you say that. It is on my wish list on Steam, and Steam is currently having their big summer sale right now.
Interesting.
I wanted to let you know Splinter Cell 1 and 3, because 2 cannot be adapted for PC. I looked into it. It's something to do with like the shading and everything like that.
I just bought them all on Xbox in the last year or so.
They're on sale for $250.
Oh, okay.
So each. So there's that. There's some games that are up to 90% off.
I'll have to go give it a look.
There are some
old Charlie there, Killer.
That one is on sale actually. I can look up and see how much it was.
Killer Spider Train. It sounds like a lot of fun.
That could be fun.
No, not a lot of playing for me. But then I don't really have a slide for it. But we actually had one of 2 emails. Let's see. Yeah, one of 2 emails.
Choo Choo Charles is 40% off and is currently $12.
Yeah, that sounds like something I have to buy.
Yeah.
Gotta love Killer Spider Trains.
No, you don't.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Not when it's trying to kill you.
Why not? It's just like
because it's trying to kill you.
Yeah, that's the fun of it, sir. So the first email we have here is from Bart from Belgium, longtime listener of Dark Tower.
Oh, Bart!
Yeah, so Bart emailed, said, "Hi, Tad." It says, "I come seeking advice. I heard on the Geekery Abides that you're a bit of an expert on the Gilligan universe. I finished up watching through Umbrella Academy, and when I'm finished with that, I'm going to start rewatching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul." It says, "I think I'm going to go chronologically story-wise, so starting with Better Call Saul, and then in parentheses, still haven't watched the 6th season, which you are in for an absolute treat there. The 6th season is some of the best television television I've ever seen in my life. And then he said, followed by Breaking Bad. And then he goes on and says, to enhance the experience, I'd like to find a good companion podcast for both shows that handle every episode. As you're well versed in the both shows, I thought I'd ask you if you had any recommendations for such podcasts. Thanks in advance for any suggestions you can make. Long days and pleasant nights. Bart from Belgium. First of all, good to hear from you, Bart. But yes, I will say, I am not necessarily the biggest podcast fan when it comes to TV stuff. My biggest pet peeve is there's too many of them that all they end up doing is it'll be like a 40-minute episode, and like 30 minutes of it, all they're doing is recapping the episode you just watched. And I'm like, I don't need a recap. I watched it. Like, I want analysis. I want like fan theories of but so I'm not the heaviest into it, but I will say there is absolutely one that I will shout from the mountaintops. It is the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul Insider podcast.
Isn't that with Vince?
Yeah. So
how do you say his last name?
Gilligan. Yeah. So, so it's the Breaking Bad Insider podcast. But the only caveat is they did not start it until season 2. So there is nothing for season 1. I think season 1's only 4 episodes or so anyway, because it was a strike shortened year back when they were developing
coming full
season
circle.
1.
We got a writer strike on right now.
Exactly. So it does start at season 2, so you don't have anything for the first couple episodes. But in through season 2, all the way through the end of Breaking Bad, and then every episode of Better Call Saul, they have the Better Call Saul Insider podcast. It is made by the actual filmmakers involved. Vince Gilligan is on almost every episode of the Breaking Bad one. He's a little bit less regular as Better Call Saul got on, because I honestly don't think he was as heavily involved, whereas Peter Gould was his co-creator on Better Call Saul. I think was the bigger kind of head honcho. I think he took the captain's seat a little bit more at Better Call Saul, even though Vince was still involved, certainly. But those episodes are incredible. They give you a lot of insight. They'll bring in cast members. They'll bring in crew people. I love those episodes. Like, honestly, for me, like a deep dive rewatch, I download those episodes as I'm watching every episode. Sometimes I'm binging, so I'll watch 5 episodes, but then I'll go and listen to 5 podcasts. So yes, the Insider podcasts are absolutely incredible. Those are the main things I could recommend. There may be other good stuff out there. I've just never been the most lucky person to find really good recap or not recap, because that's all they do, and that's what a lot of them do, and I don't like that. So I'm not the biggest like pop culture podcast finder.
Sure.
It's hard. I always look for them when I get into like really big shows like Game of Thrones and stuff. I was always searching for like whatever, and every once in a while I found a couple, but it's usually like someone that's super specialized. Like with Game of Thrones, it was like a show I found where it's like one person like had read all the books, the other person hadn't, and they were just super into it, and like so it wasn't as much like we review all TV. It was more like we're specialists in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
that was the best thing to watch. With Better Call Saul,
like us with Dark Tower.
Yeah, exactly. When Dark Tower hits the air, not if.
Yeah.
I would hope that people could find our show in a similar fashion,
because we will be those people.
But I know there's some out there that do like, hey, all we do is podcast for all television. They hit some of the biggest shows. I've just never found any of those that really jive with me. But I think that'll go with the Insider ones. Those are absolutely incredible. They give you a lot of cool insights into the making of those amazing shows. And yeah, good on you. That'll be a fun one. And when you get through season 6, maybe shoot an email and let me know what you think.
Don't forget El Camino.
Incredible. Yeah, you got to throw El Camino in there too. That'll be the last thing you watch if you're doing it chronologically.
Exactly.
So, all right. So that is the email. Let's see. Carol just popped in as well. Hello, everyone. And then she says going to, but then stopped. So maybe she's still recovering from
I think that might be an accidental enter.
Yeah, I do those all the time.
I do it too. I've done it to you.
Yeah. And she says going to listen while driving to the beach.
Oh, that's right. Carol lives in Hawaii.
Yeah,
jealous.
Indeed. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into the news now. You know what? I guess I usually don't have the TV on behind you either. See, it's all chaos.
Can't even see it in my screen.
No, that's true, but it's all chaos and mayhem. So news.
Everything. We're all scattered.
First one, big news. We have a Superman and Lois.
You're wearing your shirt.
I am so happy.
You're good with this one?
I'm so happy, man. So, David Corenswet, I don't know if that's how you say it, and Rachel Bronsanahan, I'm not sure how to say her last name either. I actually do have a slide with their pictures A lot of people were there was a viral thing going on where people were seeing his picture specifically and saying that they felt he looked like a very young Henry Cavill. So once is that on the screen now? Looks like that one. See, Dark Tower is all slow. This one's going fast.
Dark Tower was like a 10-15 second delay. This one's like,
yeah, it's quick. So this is a picture of them. It's pretty cool. I'm into both of them. I think I don't know a lot about either of them as actors. I do believe David had done at least one thing that I had seen. But they're both really hot up and coming actors. They seem like they're getting a lot of cool projects. Oh yeah, David was in Pearl, which I actually haven't watched yet, which is the second movie there was X was the first one and Pearl was the sequel. As well as We Own the City, which is actually funny enough, I haven't mentioned it yet. We Own the City is by I believe is the creator of The Wire. And it's a more recent show. It came out in 2022, so it's a new show, but it's kind of a spiritual successor to The Wire. And so my goal is when I finish The Wire, I'm going to go watch We Own the City, which apparently David is involved in. So I will be able to see him in that, as well as once I finally pull my Blu-ray out and open it up and watch Pearl for the first time, I will see him in that as well.
Ted has a bad habit of not opening movies. He buys them and then just puts them on the shelf, still wrapped and everything. The only reason why it stopped, it's not as bad as it used to be, is because digital codes started becoming a thing.
Yeah.
So he unwraps, he gets the digital code, and then puts it on the shelf and never watches it.
And he was also getting a lot of talk for Hollywood, the show. I think they were both in House of Cards.
She was in House of Cards. I have her pulled up right here.
He was as well. I was looking at his. So they were both in House of Cards. I don't know how heavily they were both in them. She was also in The Marvelous Miss Maisel. So yes, they've both been in some bigger stuff in the last.
She was in 19 episodes of House of Cards.
Oh, so, but I mean, yeah, I just don't know how like big the roles are and stuff. That's where I'm never sure. Like,
yeah,
it's always hard with TV shows. But yes, that's our
She
news.
was also in a show called Manhattan.
Okay,
I don't know what that is. And then some newer stuff. Looks like she was in Dead for a Dollar, I'm Your Woman, and then The Courier. Looks like the most recent stuff that she's been in.
And then because the internet is undefeated, we have people that have already computer digitized David.
Dude, he looks like Brandon Routh
into the suit. He looks like Superman. Like he pulls it off well. People said he looked like a lot like Henry Cavill.
Is he that buff?
No, this is. I mean, he will be.
This is just his face.
He will be. Yeah, this is just a computer effect thing. But yes, this is a what would you call it? Composition as to what he might look like in the suit. I don't know if Batman has a lot when it comes to like, I know the actor gets talked about a lot, but like Superman, everyone always debates trunks or no trunks, and like the curl. There's like all kinds of different like subtleties to this to the costume that Superman fans are big into debating. Yellow belt or no yellow belt? Do you have the logo on the cape? There's like all kinds of Superman things that people get really nitpicky about. We don't know how any of that's going to pan out for James Gunn's movie here. But we do have our actors, so I'm pretty excited for that.
My wife says, dang, he really does look like Superman, and I feel like he could pull off Clark Kent as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be taking a dive into both of these actors to see maybe
what do you have out there?
Go see some of the stuff they have that I can maybe dip my toe into and see kind of what do they bring to the table. But I'm positive. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Next one is
always excited when you get your favorite hero gets cast again. I mean, I was that way. I was that way when Robert Pattinson got cast, and I know a lot of people weren't. The guy from Twilight, and I'm like,
Yeah, well, it's he had that built-in baggage. There's always, I mean, the people that are being negative about this are the people that are still bitching about
Henry
Snyderverse stuff not continuing. So, but the next one is
hopefully we get past that faster than
I'm hoping,
normal.
but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, the next one's interesting. Lex Luthor. Rumor is Lex Luthor may be a Skarsgård.
Ooh, which one?
That's the question. Apparently, high on the list is both Alexander and Bill.
Oh, Alexander would be really good.
I think both of them would be incredible.
I mean, Bill's fantastic. We know this, but Alexander is.
I love them both. As I would say, Bill won me over a lot with Castle Rock. I mean, Pennywise is huge. It's iconic. Right. It's amazing. But it's such a different role. But I will say, seeing him in Castle Rock, but then also in John Wick 4, was a game changer
I
for
still
me.
need to see that. I still haven't seen John
he
Wick
was
4.
he was incredible in that. So I would be happy either way, but it's funny. Showdown, Pennywise versus Randall Flagg.
Who gets the role?
Might be facing off. I mean, there's probably other people in
Yeah.
the mix, but apparently high on the list is 2 Skarsgårds.
All right.
I mean, and there was some people I saw tweeting like, "Oh, one of the 2 Skarsgårds." It's like, hold on a second, y'all realize there's like 9 of them.
Yeah, there's so many of them. They're the new Baldwins.
I think there's like 7 brothers, and then
Yeah.
there's Stellan as the dad.
Yeah.
So,
who is fantastic. I love him.
yeah, oh yeah, he's great. I did see one. It was like one of the late night shows, and they had one of the Alexander or Bill. I don't remember which. I think it was maybe Bill for the Pennywise like promo stuff for the It movie, and he was talking about how he's like it was always awkward when we'd bring girls over because Dad's a nudist. So Stellan Skarsgård is just apparently.
So he was in his own in that the Marvel movie where he's running around naked.
Yeah,
Thor Dark World.
Yeah,
He's just running around naked. That's him in his natural state.
pretty much, yeah. Or maybe it was Alexander. One of the two was in an interview, and they were talking about how it was always awkward. You always had to be careful, if you brought
Dad, we're coming in. We have guests. Put clothes on.
Yeah, pretty much. And that, I will say, that's somewhat poisoned Stellan in my mind. Not in a bad way, but just I now think of him in a different way.
That's what's in your head.
That's all I can think about now is he's that crazy Norwegian that's
Where
running
he's
around naked.
Running around Stonehenge naked.
Indeed. So the next one, maybe not the best news,
Uh-oh.
at least for you. I don't know how you feel about it or not, but the rumor is that The Flash's poor box office may have killed a Michael Keaton Batman Beyond.
I did hear about this. This actually did come up. I don't know where this. Oh,
Kevin
Smith.
Smith.
It was an Instagram reel covering Kevin Smith saying that one of the producers didn't even go to the premiere. He stayed home to watch the box office.
Yeah.
And if the box office did well, it would be a Michael Keaton Batman Beyond.
I'm not familiar with Batman Beyond. I stopped watching the cartoons when it moved into that when we were kids, but I certainly know the general premise, and if I was going to get more Michael Keaton, even as just Bruce Wayne, I'd be down.
The best part is, okay, so let me sell you on Batman Beyond real fast. Kind of,
I know what he looks like too. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen the suit because I remember when they
Sure.
were advertising it as a kid. I was just like,
It's also in the Arkham games. They have the suit in both Arkham City and Arkham Knight that you can wear during the wait, Arkham City? No. I think it's just Arkham Knight. But let me sell you on why Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond is so great. Not only is he Bruce Wayne, but he is old man grumpy, saucy, and sarcastic Bruce Wayne.
and that is Michael Keaton.
Dude, right? Like it's made for him. Unfortunately, now knowing this is
Probably won't happen.
but yeah, he is in the show. It's like there's one scene where it's like someone injects him with a poison. It's set pretty far in the future. There's like a lot of technological advance. Someone injects him with a poison where they make him like they can control him by having a voice in his head tell him what to do, and he beats it himself. And the kid who becomes Batman, Terry, is like, "How'd you beat it?" It's like, "He called me Bruce." And he's like, "What would you call yourself?" "I always call myself Batman." It's like, oh, okay. It's just like the grumpy old man stuff with it. Plus, he has a really cool dog.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's it. So bad news. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe something could still come out at some point that we can get Michael Keaton back in some way, but who knows? May have seen his last. I mean, let's be honest. He did get a last 2 Raw.
he did.
A lot of people would never get that even. So next up, on my side, maybe exciting. Patrick Stewart is saying pretty publicly that he thinks they should maybe do another Next Generation film.
They just did Picard that had like basically the Next Generation cast all
Yeah.
ready to go. So
I would say that maybe that's why I'd say no, because
Okay.
I think that 3rd season was the perfect
send off.
send off.
We
and
just
goodbye.
talked about it with Michael Keaton. He got a send off. You know,
Yeah.
why would you? Don't push the envelope.
And
right?
ultimately, this is just an actor asking or saying this. Like, this isn't Paramount's not saying anything.
Sure.
Like this, whatever. But his quote is, he says, "I think we could do a movie, a Picard-based movie. Not necessarily that it's all about Picard, but it's about all of us, and take many of those wonderful elements, particularly from season 3 of Picard, and take out what I think what could have been an extraordinary movie. Keep telling people, or I keep telling people and mentioning it, but so far there's been no eager response. But it may well happen." And that would be, I think, a very appropriate way to say "and goodbye, folks," which I'll never say no, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
right.
But I love Patrick.
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yes, he's awesome. Next up, very a big one a little bit. Linda Hamilton, the queen of sci-fi, joining Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Which is the last season of Stranger Things, right?
Yes. Are they doing one season or is it 2 parts? Bullshit
I
thing.
think it might be 2 parts.
Yeah. So either way, she's coming in. I don't know. Do you think she's going to be a good person? Do you think she's going to be a bigger part of the whatever that organization's called?
Yeah.
I have a feeling she's probably going to be.
I got a
tied
feeling
in
we're
with-
going to get a badass.
Working for the evil.
What is that
people.
called?
I don't remember. I know they were like hidden within the realm of like the power company or whatever, but I don't remember if there was like a name for them. So, but yeah, I'm down. Linda Hamilton is awesome, so can't wait to see her coming into Hawkins as it was left in ruins at the end of the last season.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. Next up, we already some people may have already heard this. Oppenheimer is going to be booting Mission Impossible out of IMAX after only a week. So 1 week to see Mission Impossible 6 or 7, whichever one it is, in large format screens, whether it be IMAX or RPX, whatever large format screen your local theater has. You only have 1 week to see Tom Cruise trying to kill himself. I saw something with him too, where he was like talking about one of the previous movies, and they were like, or no, I think it was somebody else. I think it was Matt Damon. Matt Damon was like, yeah, I was having dinner with Tom Cruise, and he was talking about.
I saw this video.
Yeah, and he was talking about like a stunt he wanted to do, and the safety coordinator was like, no, that's way too dangerous. And
it was the Dubai climbing up the side of the
video I
building.
saw. They didn't mention it. He just said
they showed a clip of which one he was talking about. He's like, man, that stunt was incredible, and it showed him going up with like the suction gloves and everything.
And he's like, yeah. So what did you do? He's like, I got me a new safety coordinator.
Yeah.
So again, Tom Cruise is trying to kill himself making these movies. So only a week to see it on the large formats before Oppenheimer comes in and blows everything up. So that's great. Let's see. Then next up, let me get. I actually have a slide for this next one.
Okay.
Not everyone may be happy with it, but the Poltergeist clown has. Sorry, actually, I got my slides out of order. The Poltergeist clown. Did we mention that it was going up for auction?
Good Lord!
It went for auction for $656,000.
How did you get that much money together?
What did I put on the slide? Did I say sadly Tad didn't win? No, I was thinking about putting. I can't read it from here; it's too small.
News: Poltergeist clown sells for $656K
Below.
at auction.
Sadly Tad didn't.
Sadly, Tad didn't win the lottery to buy it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't win it, but there was this massive Hollywood thing. Another couple things that sold at this, as well as the prices. Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber from Episode 3, not just lightsaber, but the dueling one with the metal,
the
metal thing on it.
To actually like.
It went for $118,000.
Oh.
Harry Potter's glasses went for $100,000. Andy Dufresne's rock hammer, worn out rock hammer, went for $87,000. And then the Jumanji board went for I wrote that wrong. I think that's 1,000. $262,000. I forgot the K, so it said $262. I'm like, that's not right.
I could have afforded that.
So like the wood elaborate board from the.
Don't play it.
Oh, I would.
Don't roll the dice.
You got to, man. You have to.
No.
Yes. Alan, that clown is yuck. Just yuck. LOL. Yeah.
My wife says she hates it.
You gotta love it because of the long, dangly arms.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
Great for wrapping around you and giving you a hug.
I think I actually forgot to mention it in the last because they were saying that this upcoming Hollywood thing.
I think you mentioned it to me off air.
Yeah, but I think I forgot to mention on the show. But it went through whatever $656,000.
Mike says Tad saying he didn't win the lottery is a false flag. He emptied his 401k to buy it.
The cool thing is it has a nice hard feet though, so you could hear it coming if it were to try to sneak up on you.
I got to make sure it's not like.
But also, sorry, the one that I got out of order, the Jonathan Majors news is getting worse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this. This just came out yesterday. Mm-hmm. The Rolling Stones is alleging they have 24 sources saying that he is an abusive and toxic person, going all the way back to his days at Yale. The thing that I don't get here is it sounds like Feige changed his entire plan because they loved Jonathan Majors and that Kang was never going to be the big bad, but they loved him so much they rechanged all their plans for the future stuff. So based on him. So yeah, this is it's not going Marvel's way. Marvel didn't get lucky here to where it was just an isolated event. It sounds like, and again, this is all accusations, but of course, his side is denying it. But yeah, it's this isn't going away quiet, unfortunately. For I mean, of course, we're nerds, so we're only going to get into the nerdy side of it. Of course, the actual abuses, if they're legitimate, like, that's way more important to like deal with that. Like, I just don't want to get
dozens of sources and stuff like that.
That's where I get.
Yeah,
that's right. Where accusations, like, everyone should have the presumption of innocence, but it's always troubling to me when a pattern arises. When it's like one person, it's hard sometimes. Like, you want it because, again, you want the presumption of innocence. But when there's like, hey, there's like a dozen, or in this case 24 people, like
going back decades,
going back a long time, like that's
a decade, years. I should say years. I don't even know how old he is.
Yeah,
so
he's not super old.
Yeah,
so.
Going back years, that's definitely
so. Who knows?
Not a positive sign.
And I do know they removed him from a lot of the marketing for Ant-Man as it was coming towards home video and stuff. I mean, he's still in the movie, of course, but the marketing material is kind of changed up a bit. So I don't know what that's going to look like. But again, not to try to make light of the actual abuses.
No, it's terrible that's happened.
I just know the easiest way to discuss from is from the nerdy realm. So I'm not trying to like reduce things down to that. That's just where I feel the most safe talking about, like, that's the reaction realm of like that's in our realm of pop culture. So
and it's not oh man, it sucks that our movies aren't going to be made. Oh man, it sucks that this guy's an asshole and now our movies aren't going to get made because of what he did.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way I always try to explain it to people, is that it's not that I care more about the movies than people's well-being. It's that, God, why can't you just be a good person?
Yeah,
like it just frustrates me so bad.
That's what Subway was saying for a long time.
I know.
Why couldn't they
like,
just be a good person?
Why can't you just be a good person?
Let's see. So I got the Poltergeist clown.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, I had some. I don't know what that slide. I think I forgot to delete that one because we already covered that last week. The Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He is apparently begging for an Obi-Wan season 2. But no, the one that we're trying to cover is
fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The rumor apparently is Adam Driver has priced himself out of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, really?
So his asking price is potentially removing him out of the equation of being Reed Richards. So,
good night, sweet prince.
I mean, honestly, I could see, though, maybe he doesn't want to get into another heavy, big franchise. Like, he might enjoy doing the smaller.
But if they were going to pay him a shit ton of money, he'd be like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
everyone has a price, right?
That's kind of a bummer. I was hoping to maybe see him in that role.
I know you're a huge fan of him too.
Yeah, he's done great in everything I've seen him in, and I think that would have been cool because it's so against type for what a lot of the nerdy people in our realm. They would just be, oh, he was Kylo Ren, so he'll be Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Bucking that trend to go the other direction, that would have been really cool. So who knows? We'll see. I kind of have a feeling that maybe we'll see some Fantastic Four casting in the next little bit, in the next, I don't know, few months maybe.
Yeah.
So
if Adam's out, then hopefully they're closing in on who they're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, Denis Villeneuve is apparently developing Dune Part 3. That is in the news now.
Isn't his name Villanueva? No. I am so off today.
No. So he is
Villeneuve.
Part 2 just came out. The trailer just came out for the second trailer for Part 2 just dropped 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And now apparently it is in the news that he is signed up, and it sounds like he's like a hardcore Dune fan.
Oh,
he's
huge fan.
He's even said like if he just does nothing but makes Dune movies the rest of his career, he's fine. I think that would be a shame because he's such an amazing director. I'd love to see him do some other stuff.
Yeah.
But if he keeps making Dune movies, I'll keep watching him.
That first Dune movie was amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait for Part 2.
Yeah, it actually made my list for our subject.
Yeah. So
not top 10 list, but it made my shotgun list.
Yeah. So next up, apparently, I actually have a slide for this too. Mortal Kombat 2 has begun filming. And I actually have a little picture that was posted on social media of the cast, including some new members, including Carl Urban. So apparently that is now confirmed that Carl Urban is playing Johnny Cage.
All right.
So they have begun filming. That's exciting. Can't wait to see what's up for MK2 on the big screen.
Get over here.
We got to hopefully we can see a spine rip because we didn't see one in the first movie. That was my only biggest disappointment. I was like, we went through a Mortal Kombat movie and not one person got spine ripped. Like what?
Yeah.
The fuck? What are we doing here? Come on.
Carl Urban's getting some love in the chat.
Honestly, there in the Mortal Kombat fandom that I'm somewhat plugged into. There's been a lot of heated debate about him, but I'm like of the realm of like I doubted him for Bones McCoy in Star Trek, and he did because I just pictured him from Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
But then he did that.
But
and
he also had
so
that. He also had horrible Doom movie in between too.
I don't know what you're talking about, but but then he did so good as McCoy that I'm like, what, dude, this guy is way more versatile than I thought he might be.
Yeah.
And then since then he's done a few other things that's proven even further that like this dude's
And The Boys.
He's incredible. He could do so many different things.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem is everyone pictures The Boys, and that's what a lot of people are heated about was he's like a Kano type. Like he's not a Johnny Cage type.
That's not the only thing he can play though. Like,
but that's the most
thing.
recent thing.
I
And he's been
know.
doing it for 3-4 years now. So, yes, that is. But that's in the news. That's coming along. And yeah, Carl Urban is because last we heard it was just a rumor. So
Yeah.
there was no big announcement that he was signed on. So that's pretty cool. And speaking of Carl Urban, this Boys season 4 production is apparently stopped due to the strike. So that's a bummer, but
It is.
not unexpected.
No.
Next up, Captain America 4 and Deadpool 3 are reportedly wrapped filming. So,
Hey.
to counteract the bad news, we got some good news that it's apparently both of those. This isn't like this is rumor because who knows? They usually don't announce those things. But if the reports are true, both of those have wrapped filming, which means they're now moving into post production, which means nothing writer wise can affect them. Once you wrap filming, writers are done.
You go
so.
in unless you have any kind of reshoots or anything like that has to
Yeah.
happen. But that is a rare instance for those ones. Every now and then they'll have to do something else for post production, but it's mostly just post production stuff, editing, all that stuff, special effects, and all that kind of stuff. But maybe that's the reason why Deadpool 3 got its release date bumped up. Because it was closer to being done, and other stuff wasn't. So it got with the writer strike, those stuff got pushed back, and Deadpool got pushed up.
Disney doesn't want to lose the date, if nothing else.
And they know that Deadpool 3 is going to make money.
Yeah, I think that, so that is it. The only other one I had, I actually forgot a slide for. I don't remember how I meant to delete it.
It was probably supposed to replace the Obi-Wan one.
Could have been. Apparently, the rumor is that Christian Bale was approached to do the Flash and turned it down.
Yeah, Warner Brothers asked him to do a cameo with several other Batmans, not just Michael Keaton.
He said repeatedly, though, that he will not do anything if Christopher Nolan is not involved. He's pretty much been saying that since day one. There
For
was
Batman or just in general?
Batman.
Oh, okay.
There was rumors as they were launching into like the Man of Steel and stuff that they were offering like 50-60 million, like Harrison Ford money, to him to come in and bridge the gap and play Batman into the new DCEU stuff.
Okay.
That was back in like 2011, 2012, but there was like rumors that he was turning down like $50-60 million contract to continue playing Batman because he's like, nope, Nolan's not involved, I'm not doing it.
Wow.
So, that's indeed. So that does bring us to the main topic, though. Just try to zip through the news as quick as we could. So main topic wise, we like I said, we mentioned it at the top of the show. But basically, I love movies. I think that's pretty clear by now. And
just look behind him if you don't believe him. There's a second one over here.
and stuff up top, and but I love movies and I love history. And there's always that idea of like, man, time travel. Like, if I had a time machine, one of the first things I would probably do is go see some movies, man.
You would go see movies. You would go see historical dates and things that happen, historical events. That's the word I'm looking for.
But say I had a time machine. If you wanted to look at my actual time travels, I bet you the first few would be movie-wise.
Why is he going to May of 1977?
So all those things merging together, and I'm the kind of nerd that loves just come up with weird questions like this. And the question is if you had a time machine, what movies are you going to go see on opening night? Because again, this could be any number of things. It could be because you love the movie. It could be because you want to see the audience's reaction. It could be because it's a piece of history. I mean, there's any number of things. I left that up for interpretation. We can discuss that as we go through. Like kind of, like why did you pick what you picked or whatever.
Exactly.
But yes, we also have Mike and Lydia both emailed us as well. So we got 4 people to cover on this. I only have 2 on the slides because real estate on the screen. We'd have no room for us if we had everyone's list.
So you're just going to read off what Mike and Lydia.
Yeah, I have the lists up, so I'll read it through. So let me make sure I've got the the list's ready to go on our side. But first thing, let's talk honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Mike has some. I think you mentioned you had some, and
Yep.
I know I have some. So, what do you got for honorable mentions?
I have 3 honorable mentions that were very close to making my list. So I think we've talked about this before. I do the TAD approach for making my list. I just shotgun everything out there. If I think of a movie, I put it down and everything like that. And then I go through and pick like
How many did you have?
I
total?
didn't number them. I did keep the list this time though.
Okay.
Let me just throw a quick numbering thing on here on Google Drive. Give me just 1 second. Where's the numbering thing? Oh, there it is. I had 22.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So
Really heavy shotgunning then.
I had and that was a funny thing is you had doubts that I could do 10. So
I know I could have, but I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I've actually thought this topic through a lot of times over the years. I don't know. I'm throwing on you for the
Sure.
first time, so I'm like, I don't know. Like, it seems like something anyone can come up with,
Yeah.
but I wanted to make sure.
But
So,
yeah, I had 22. I whittled it down to 13, and then the 3 that got cut were Alien,
okay,
Terminator 2,
okay,
and The Thing.
okay, yeah,
Those were my 3 honorable mentions.
yeah. That's good ones.
Yeah.
Mike had Major League 1989. The Deer Hunter 1978.
Okay.
That's a great one. And then another really good one, Platoon 1986.
Ooh.
Gotta love me some Elias from Platoon. I love Platoon. It's one of
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie. I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler for all these movies, by the way.
Yeah, there will be ample spoilers most
Yeah.
likely. So let me go ahead and look at my list. I didn't whittle mine down in terms of like whatever, so I've got a lot of honorable mentions. I'm not going to mention them all. I did throw up like Wizard of Oz, Citizen Kane, Wizard of Oz. Seeing the
Cinematic
reaction,
classics.
yeah, seeing the reaction of people for the
from
Technicolor,
black and white to color.
yeah, like that was before color was a widespread
Yeah.
thing, so that would have been huge. Citizen Kane, one of the greatest films of all time, that would just be incredible to see. I think the reason it didn't make the list probably just because I didn't. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with it. I think I've seen it once, like right out of high school. So
Yeah.
I bought it, but I keep hearing about like upgrades, so I keep like holding off. And also, at one point, I wanted to go through and do the AFI top 100 movies of all time, and that's way up there. And so I've always also held out the idea of like, if I'm going to go through and do that, I don't want to like watch movies off the list
Yeah.
that I know are on there that I haven't seen.
So when are you doing that?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Watch it.
Yeah. Another one that not necessarily. I mean, just for the historic value of the movie's incredible. Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah.
That would be an interesting one.
Sure.
Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, that would be a fun one. That'd be a hard one for me not to talk along to, though, with all the people around me.
Okay.
Just like saying the lines before they say them.
He's a witch!
Yeah, he's a witch. Burn him. And then the only other one I think I'll mention is Predator. Because the whole turn in that movie.
Yeah, from an Arnold action movie to a oh shit.
Yeah, and I don't know how it was marketed, so I don't know how much people knew, but
Yeah.
I can imagine what that would have been like when that
See, that's why
20, 30 minutes in when that movie completely turns on its head and becomes a different movie.
That's why Terminator 2 was on my second to last list, my initial top 13. Is because of the turn of Arnold going from the bad guy in 1 to the good guy in 2.
Yeah.
Even though they spoiled it in the marketing, not everyone saw a ton of trailers back then. There was no YouTube. So
Yeah.
people still may not have known that. That is the reason why Terminator 2 made my list initially, is because I'm like, imagine sitting there in theaters and they're like, oh, there's the Terminator. Oh, there's the guy that's going to protect him. He looks human, kind of thing. Arnold's still all stiff, and then get down. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I could just imagine
Plus
the
it's-
theater reacting,
one of the best movies
And
of
it's
all time.
amazing, too. Yeah.
It's one of the greatest action movies of all time.
Yeah.
So that I think that'll do it for me for the honorable mentions.
Okay.
So I think we did a good job last time. I think it worked out well of like kind of hitting them shared ones at the same time. So I'm going to do that.
Do I need to move? I need to move one way. I just can't remember which way it is for when the list goes up on the screen.
It'll be on that side of you. So you're good.
It's all.
Yeah.
I'm good where I'm.
yeah,
okay.
I think you're good. So
I couldn't remember which side you put it on, so I had to. I want to make sure I'm not being blocked by it.
yeah, so let's start. I'm going to start on the right and go to the left because that's against nature and it's witchcraft, right? Reading the other way.
Okay.
So we'll start with Mike. Mike starts off with Seven Samurai, 1954, and he says U.S. release with English subtitles. He says I don't speak Japanese. So many amazing movies, books, shows exist thanks to this movie, and yeah, that's a great one. It's one of my favorites. I've got it, the Criterion collection of it. I thought about some of the Kurosawa movies, but I didn't actually end up with any on my list. So I am glad that Mike chimed in and actually threw one on there, because that's a good mention. I mean, that may be one of the most influential films of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, like for instance, the final battle on that, it starts to rain right before that, and like, name me how many movies before a big battle happens and it starts to rain.
I mean, I could name one right off the top of my head. It's the third Matrix movie.
The Matrix, Lord of the Rings, you have Helm's Deep, it starts to rain right before. It's a common trope at this point, because it just makes the movie so much more dynamic when you add that rain element.
Yeah.
And it's like that starts with Seven Samurai. So
Okay.
That's a cool one. And I mean, that's the Magnificent Seven riffs out of that. Like it's a great movie. So that's a cool call, Mike. I like that. I'm glad you called it, because I was kind of bummed that I didn't put any Kurosawa on mine. I mean, I came out with like 19 or so, just list wise. So I was trying to hold back, because I'm like, this is gonna be hard to whittle down.
Yeah,
I keep adding more.
it was quite tough to get it down to 13, and then that 13 was a oof.
Yeah,
Ooh, it was tough for me.
yeah, it can get tough. And then Lydia has Signs.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, some M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm trying to remember. I saw Signs in theaters. It wouldn't have been opening day, but I went.
I saw it on VHS the first time I saw it.
Okay, and I remember. I think it had been spoiled a tiny bit. I mean, but then by a certain point, I started to like wonder about all of his movies. Like, is everything gonna have a twist? Because like this is still pretty early on, so you don't know for sure. But yeah, I remember going to see it. It was probably weeks in, but yeah, it was good. But yeah, it would have been a fun one for opening night for sure.
My wife's in the chat, and she put her reason for wanting to see Signs. You want me to read it, or
Yeah,
do you
go
want
ahead.
to? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So she says, Signs. The movie scared the crap out of me as a kid, and I want to watch it again in theaters to see if it's as scary as I remember.
Oh yeah. And
That's a good reason to see it too, but if it scared you as a kid. Damn
Yeah.
it, I didn't even think about Tremors, dude.
dude, you know what that just reminded me of? Blair Witch.
Oh, dude.
Because the Blair Witch Project, I've told you the story. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but that movie, saw it on VHS to begin with, watched it for years. And then in the early 2000s, had a job at a high school, had enough to buy me a surround sound system. Buy me a surround sound system, buy the Blair Witch on DVD.
Talking like the wired speakers going into the different corners of your room.
5.1,
Yep.
5 speakers, 1 subwoofer. Watch that movie. I had seen it umpteen times. Suddenly it was a completely different movie, because there is some shit happening in the 3D audio of that movie that it was a new movie. I
You
was
would only get that in theaters or with surround sound.
Exactly. So it's like to see that in theaters for the same reason. Like one, it was scary, and two, like I would be able to get that 3D surround in
So that
theaters.
didn't make your list?
No, because I didn't think about that from the perspective of myself.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with yours. It looks like some regrets, trying to pay off some regrets here with your number 10.
You know the reason why this is number 10.
Let's go ahead and pull it up on the screen. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
What is going on here? Yeah, let's see why. I don't know why it's.
Stupid YouTube.
Let's see this one, and then. Yeah, no, I think this is. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Or I just need to transition the slide. Okay, there we go. Either way, yeah, there we go. Now, now it's up.
Yeah, number 10 is Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm pretty sure it's the only Marvel movie I haven't seen in theaters.
So it's a make good.
It was I got to make good on it, you know?
Yeah, I saw it on your list and I laughed. I'm like, oh, I know the story on this one.
Yeah, it was before we were going opening weekend for all Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I ended up watching it at my house with you. You brought your copy over because I'm like, Guardians of the Galaxy. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, you're like, that's the one with the raccoon in the
That's
tree?
the one
Like,
with the raccoon in the tree. Like, I don't want to see that. It's going to be stupid. And then I watched it at my house. Me, you, my wife, and my daughter watched it. And oh my God, I love that movie.
yeah.
And I've never seen it in theaters.
Yeah.
So, regret. That's
Yeah.
the reason why it's here. It's regret. It's low on my list, but it's regret.
Yeah, no, and that's legitimate.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be that thing too. I mean, yeah, there's any number of reasons. Like I said, I wanted to leave that ambiguous as possible
Yep.
as to why, because you can pick it for any number of reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. And then your wife's saying she forgot about that one too. So
And I know she feels the same way as me too. So she wants to see it on the big screen. If it ever comes back, we're going to.
yeah.
What about you?
Yes, yeah. For me, kind of. I mean, not the same at all because I wasn't nearly born yet. But it's Superman, the motion picture. Love the movie.
Yeah.
And part of me, most of mine, I will admit right up front, a lot of mine are going to be audience reaction. And the special effects, I mean, you're in the age of special effects in the late 70s.
Yeah.
They put a lot of time and effort and money into it. And like the whole marketing was, you'll believe a man can fly. I would just love to see how audiences reacted in 78, as well as I'm a huge Superman fan. So
I mean,
I would dig,
obviously look at the shirt.
I would dig the hell out of it as well, but also just to see, how are the audiences reacting? What does that vibe look like in 1978? So yeah, that's my pick. I mean, it's a great movie too. You got Gene Hackman, Marlon Brando, a lot of good actors
Christopher
involved.
Reeves.
Yeah, Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder.
Let's not leave off Superman, sir.
No, but yeah, iconic actors for sure, all involved. So that is mine. I would love to see.
Sure.
I think I've even tried a few times when they've had like those screenings where they'll like play an older movie, and I think every single time, I think it's happened 2 or 3 times in the last like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And every single time it's like I've got something going that I can't make it. So I haven't even seen it as like a retro screening. So that's a bummer.
Mike says Superman's score is one of the most iconic ever, same level as Star Wars and Jaws,
Oh
etc.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's John Williams. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I say outside of the actual creators of the comic, I think that the most influential thing to Superman is that theme. I think, like, outside of the original dudes that created him, like, and created the cape and the costume, like the next most iconic thing might be that fucking theme, man. And I just to hear that and all of its bombast of a movie, I mean, it wouldn't have been the same level of movie theaters they have nowadays. I think that's the one thing that we'll all just ignore is the fact that movie theaters by and large sucked compared to what we're used to now. Like there's times you're throw on, like, I think I thought about it when I threw on Jaws at one point. And I think I bought the Blu-ray, and dude, it was like stunning, like to the point where I was like, dude, this looks fucking real. Like, and I'm not trying to sound old, but it was just like, and I remember it dawned on me, or I'm like, I am viewing this better than anyone has ever viewed this ever.
Yeah.
Like even Spielberg watching it in the studios would have been seeing it to a lesser degree. He wasn't seeing it in full 4K.
Exactly.
He would have had the film and all that, and then all the theaters, like, you didn't have the same standard, so it's just like nobody's seen this movie as well as I'm watching it right now, and that's crazy for a movie that's older than you are, So, that we'll all put that aside, though, the fact that we'd all be like, God, what's wrong with the projector on this thing? Because we would be dealing with that with our time machines here. And also, do we have a DeLorean? Right? Is that our time machine?
Oh, of course.
Are we just assuming it's a DeLorean? Okay, just making sure we're all on the same page. And then Mike says, best part about this topic, paying $4.50 to see a movie again.
I know.
I mean, in some cases, that's probably way more than you'd pay, too.
Yeah.
We're talking back in the 70s. I don't think movies cost $4 even, like...
Guardians would still cost me a pretty penny.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be...
Not as bad as now.
It'd be cheaper than it is now, certainly, but...
not as cheap as Superman.
No, exactly. Okay, so then jumping on over to Mike again, going up to number 9. Mike's number 9 is The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, okay.
So the Roland Deschain inspiration.
Yep.
I could only imagine seeing that on like the big, like 70 millimeter screen.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
with some of those like shots that you get of the
beautiful
scenery
shot
and stuff.
film too.
Yeah, imagine just seeing good old Clint up there and in all of his glory, and basically what was the equivalent of an IMAX screen back in the day.
Do you still have the sound for it? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh yeah. Because we were all thinking it anyway,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a good pick. The Sergio Leone trilogy came to mind for me a bit, but that was after I was already like, I have way too many already. Like as much as it breaks my heart, I've got to just stop thinking and then deal with what I have now.
My wife says $1.55 in 1970 for a movie ticket.
Yeah.
$1.55, dude.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I got that much change in my car right now.
But you got to make sure it's all the right dates, or you'll get burned as a witch.
That's true.
And then Mike says my picks are heavily for the late 70s, early 80s, and honestly, I can mostly agree with you. But I will say there was a number of things that as I was spitballing, I mean, some of my honorable mentions were movies that were out when I was a kid, right? Silence of the Lambs was out when I was a kid. Sure. I thought about God, a few movies came to my mind where I'm like, I would have been alive, but it just wouldn't have been a movie I would have gone to see, or if I did, it would have been opening night. And to see it as an adult, you know.
There are a couple on my list that are absolutely out when I'm alive and able to go see films. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of them. There's a regret factor there, but there's just a cursory glance at mine. There are 2 movies on my list that were out when I was a kid and feasibly could have gone and seen them, did not. And we'll get to them when we get to them.
Yeah, indeed. So that's a good one. And then your wife coming in at number 9 was Seven.
Oh, what's in the box?
Yeah, that is a great movie, man.
Such a good
I was
movie.
just watching some reaction videos of that over the last couple months, and it's a beautiful movie. I mean,
it's shot very pretty.
I don't want to say that because it's actually a really hideous movie.
Yeah,
but that was the point.
That was the point.
Like, it was supposed to look like a dirty, dingy, disgusting movie, but it did it so brilliantly that you feel dirty after watching it. You want to take a shower.
My wife's synopsis in the chat is just "What's in the box" with a 7 exclamation.
I mean, seeing how people react to that too.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, that because people didn't know David Fincher yet. Like, he wasn't on the map to the same level as he is now, where people are like, "Oh, a David Fincher movie." You kind of know what that's going to feel like.
Yeah.
Like, he had done a couple movies, but nowhere near enough where people would know what the fuck they were in for.
The mystery and twist movies, you know, my wife has 2 of them so far on her list with mystery/twists and stuff like that. Like, what's going on here? Those are going to be a lot of ones that would be fun to watch the audience.
Oh yeah, and that's what I said earlier. Most of mine are that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a little bit of selfishness of like myself, but for the most part, it's like I want to see the audience. Like, I'm that way anyway. Like, when I go see horror movies now, like, they don't scare me, so I enjoy. Like, by osmosis,
having Hayden next to you, or having me or my wife next to you,
or even strangers. There's times I watch strangers and they see them in front of me.
You actually are one of those people that do go to movies by yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
So I've never done that. I'm considering trying that this next week for the first time. So it's going to be an interesting social experiment for me.
Yeah.
But my wife does say, that's the reason I want to see the audience's reaction. And then Mike says, who actually learned the deadly sins from that movie? This guy.
Yeah.
Hi.
There's not a lot of
nope.
there's not a lot of that in our region.
No, that's not something that's taught to us. And then when we got to Shazam, I was like, hey, I know these. I watched 7.
Yeah, indeed. It is an educational movie.
It is.
Okay, so now
the worst part is my daughter runs around saying what's in the box, and she doesn't understand.
I mean, a lot of people do, man. It's
one of those lines that people say.
Yeah, people say it a lot, and I don't know that a lot of people even know the actual context. I think it's gone so far beyond the movie now that it's just, I don't want to say it's become a meme, but it kind of has, where it's like it's not about the movie anymore. It's just like again, your daughter. I assume she hasn't seen 7.
No, she has not.
So I'll say if she has, I'd be proud of you as a parent.
Proud of me.
Let's see. And then Mike says, let's see, reinforcement that with Devil's Advocate. Yeah, that too. Yeah. I got it. I don't know. I don't have enough Pacino on my list. I just realized that. Like, in my head, I could spoil it by saying Heat's not on my list, and that's breaking my heart now.
Oof.
God damn it.
Oof.
This is why I wanted to stop thinking.
Oh.
Dude, seeing Heat on the big screen would have been just as a selfishness. That wouldn't be as much the reaction of the crowd, but that's a movie I could throw on any day of any time, any week, any time of the day, and just throw that on, and it's almost a 3-hour movie. It doesn't matter. Like, it's
still good.
Like, if I was still an old person that like had a TV and cable and was flipping through, same thing. If I landed on it, I'm staying there. Yeah, like it's such a great. But
that's what we need to call those. Leave it movies.
Yeah,
you're changing the channels. Oh, that's on. Leave it.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so I am going to go 9 first. I'm going to hop you for a specific reason.
Rude. How dare you tell? I can't believe you.
So number 9 for me, again, reactions are critical for me. Psycho.
Made my initial list.
Yeah, Psycho,
it's
man.
on there. But I honestly, okay, so here's the thing, okay? Before you get into your thing.
I know every frame of it, so it'd be, because that's the other thing, too. making my list versus not, and some of them it came down to like the familiarity I have.
Sure.
Like if I know one where I know every fucking frame, every line, I'm going to be able to enjoy that more while watching people versus like one where I'm like, I've seen it once or twice.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
You want to know why this one didn't even make my top 13?
why?
It's a matter of getting my my money's worth. This is pretty short compared to some of these other films on my list.
Yeah, but dude,
And that-
I mean,
and that-
the historic element of
Yeah.
like the, you know, like back in the before that, people could come and go. You bought a movie ticket, you didn't know your show time. You might walk in the middle of the movie, and then you could stay all day. So then, like, that's where Lucas got his idea of Star Wars. You came in the middle of the story, and then later he did the beginning because you
Yeah.
could have walked into, you know. The Magnificent Seven, you know, or Ben-Hur, and you could have come in at the chariot race, see the tail end of the movie, and then just stay until it restarts. And then you watch the beginning, and it's like, oh, okay, I just saw the
that's
whole
how they got there.
yeah. Or you could stay all day and just watch it multiple times. Psycho, it's like Hitchcock's like, no, you need to force people. They need to be there when they sit down because
Yeah.
Janet Leigh was the biggest actor in the movie, and she was going to die. Not 20 minutes, probably like what within 30, 40 minutes of the movie
Yeah.
starting, she's dead. And he's like, I don't want people coming in and thinking that like they got ripped off that she's not in this movie.
Yeah.
He's like, so no, you got to make people. So there's that historical fact of that it's got that element, but also, I mean, just I can only imagine what people back in those days
Yep.
that are so undesensitized,
Sure.
or what would that be? Sensitized? What's the opposite of desensitized?
Untraumatized.
yeah, like
Not traumatized yet.
yeah, they like they don't have the same.
They hadn't met Tad yet.
yeah, they have.
That's how I would
They
put it.
haven't seen the shit I've seen. So to see them react to like the shower scene, to see what their reaction would be to Janet Leigh dying. I mean, just everything involved in that. There's just no way it wasn't going to
Yeah.
make my list. So yeah, Psycho for me. And then to get the. It's such a great one.
Yeah.
So, on yours, me, you, and Mike all have this one. So,
Okay.
let me figure out
My number 9. Do mine first.
Yeah, there we go. And then I've got
Yours is at number
6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jaws.
And then Mike has it at 3.
Okay.
So high up. So Jaws. I also wanted to just brag a tiny bit because I was trying to figure out what's the best way to like see the connected movies. So I'm like, I'm going to color code them. Jaws, ocean blue.
No, of course. of course.
But go ahead. I'll let you start since you were bringing it up here.
I mean,
first.
this movie terrorized everyone. Everyone saw this movie and instantly became afraid of sharks.
Yeah.
Like, don't go swimming in the ocean. Shark hunting went up and everything. This movie changed the public perception of sharks. It wasn't great to begin with, but
Yeah.
it changed how people felt. There's stories that people wouldn't take baths after watching Jaws.
And that's what it was. Psycho too. Is the showers.
Yeah.
People are terrified of showers.
Yeah, and so like I want to see that. I want to
Yeah.
see and also beginning of the summer blockbuster, right?
Yeah. First blockbuster.
In the summertime and everything like that. So I want
Yeah.
to see that.
I also,
you know?
for me, also the other thing on top of that, because all the same reasons for the most part.
Yep.
First blockbuster, you'd also see people's reactions. And then the other big thing was Spielberg. I mean, Spielberg's a master.
Yeah.
And there was a point as I was like going through mine where I'm like, okay, I need at least one Spielberg on my list because it's Steven fucking Spielberg.
Yep.
And there was a few choices, but ultimately it came down to when I saw Jaws, it's like it has to be fucking
how can
Jaws.
I not pick that? Yeah.
It's just and it's such a great movie, top to bottom too.
Yeah,
It's
and it's also a great movie. That's the other thing with it.
incredible. Yeah, it's so
And to
easy to
see-
watch. It's not one that's a
Yeah.
slog. Sometimes you see older movies and it's like they're a little bit slow or something. Like no, dude, this it breezes.
You get a kill
it's
within the first like 10 minutes of the film.
terrifying. I mean, one of the most iconic John Williams scores of all time.
I think it's got to be his most iconic piece of music.
That's really hard,
And
man.
my opinion,
That's-
just knee jerk reaction. Da dun
Yeah, but you're also fighting against Star Wars.
da dun.
You know, how many people know like whistle the Star Wars thing, but they've never seen a Star Wars movie? Like it's or the Imperial March.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. That's a hard. I've wrestled with that question
Yeah.
over the years where it's like
Mike
what is this
says
most iconic?
Quint is one of his favorite movie characters ever.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
dude, like, and that the scene when the USS Indianapolis story is one of
Mm-hmm.
my absolute favorite scenes. Like, I have a handful of scenes that are just in my rotation on YouTube where like I'll just get
man, I'm craving that.
I'll get the hankering and I'll go pull it up, and I wish YouTube had a counter of some kind, because I believe that Indianapolis scene may be one of my higher rewatch ones, because it's just masterful, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I've even thought, like, why have they never made like a good film adaptation of what happened at the Indianapolis, or not adaptation, but a film like a version of that. But then every time I think about it, I'm like, because that one scene in Jaws did better than any movie you'll ever be able to do, and they didn't show a single shark.
Yeah.
Like, him telling that story and how well that was executed, acted, shot, everything written, you're never gonna beat that.
No.
Like, you can do a $300, $400, $500 million movie and use real fucking sharks that are somehow trained, and maybe even kill real actors, just let them all die, and you're still not going to end up with a better movie than what he just tells verbally. Like, it's
one of the things with Jaws for me is that we walk out of the theater and we talk outside the theater, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee that I would be speed walking out of the theater so that I could stand outside, because I guarantee I would hear this at least. I would probably hear at least one person, maybe more, say this: "Man, how'd they get a shark to do that?" Because back then they didn't know about special effects nearly as much and everything. So,
Mike says, "quote kill real actors." # too much tat.
if you take that and snip that clip, that's going to be taken out of context pretty harsh.
No, I'm just saying that, like, just trying to go so extreme that it's like, even if you did everything to make it the absolute,
Even if you did, yeah,
maybe
that's
if
what
you
you're saying.
maybe you got a real fucking destroyer and sank the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way. Like, it's like James Cameron can do the fucking movie and go Titanic level on it. You're just what Quint's story there is better than anything you're ever going to get on film. It's just and which is crazy, because it's also opposite, because film always says show don't tell.
Yeah.
But there you're telling, and it's better than any showing would ever have been.
Exactly.
So it's one of my favorite movies,
It's
dude.
masterful.
It's so good. Yeah. It's incredible. And it's just in the DNA of all film. I mean, it's one of the most iconic films of all time. So really good one there. So let's see. We're moving on to number 8.
Yeah, so Mike's number 8.
Okay.
Oh, did Mike say anything about Jaws?
No. He has a couple notes, but not on everything.
Okay.
So number 8, Mike has Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
and this is the one that almost made my Spielberg list. When I was like, Spielberg's got to get on here somehow.
Yeah.
Indy came to mind, but then I was like, okay, well, is it Raiders or is it Crusade? And then I realized, like, oh shit, wait, Jaws is on the table too, and Indy went away. Not that Raiders isn't amazing.
Oh yeah,
Jaws is just it maybe if nothing else, the debate for me of Raiders versus Crusade may have harmed Indy's chances on my list a bit.
Because which one would it be?
Yeah, I'll leave that to the philosophers.
Why
to
not
decide.
both?
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
There's very little real estate here, though.
This is true. It got hard.
And actually, your wife matches. She also has Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Hey,
so,
look at that. Great minds think alike.
Yeah, and it makes me a little bit ashamed that I didn't have it on my. But dude, this is hard.
I don't have an Indiana Jones on my list. Spoiler alert.
This was hard to come up with here, and like this kind of thing. This is exactly like I didn't even think of Heat, so that's still pissing me off. But then like I knew I left Indy off my list in total. I mean, dude, even the second one. You imagine what people's reactions would have been to that?
Kalima.
I mean, the dinner scene, the chilled monkey brains, and
or the
bugs, the bugs. Yeah, like when it's going up and going down her dress and stuff.
Yeah.
That freaking centipede. And, it's just.
So you're doing that on purpose right now, aren't you?
Isn't that the creepiest part of that whole scene? I mean, she has to put her hand into that hole, but like when that one is crawling across her, that's like, even as a kid, I'm like, that's fucking gross, man.
Yeah.
And the crunchiness that Short Round mentions is pretty nasty too.
Yeah.
Like, why is the floor crunchy? It's like fortune cookies. They put the fire down there and see all the
so my wife says for Raiders of the Lost Ark, the start of an amazing series, and would love to experience the start in theaters.
Imagine, that opening
scene with the big old boulder and everything like that.
Oh, dude, yeah, and the tarantulas too in there.
Brush the tarantulas off the back.
Yeah, and it goes over that guy, the one, and he
You're getting some emojis from my wife in the chat.
He like hisses a little bit when that one goes across him. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good old Indy.
Indy.
But no, for me it would have been 1 or 3. Like
It would have been Last Crusade.
Like
for
I
me.
said, I've said it over the years. I'll leave that to the philosophers of which
Yeah.
one's better, because like they both have their strengths. I think that Raiders is a tighter movie. Like overall, like there's no fat in that movie. It's perfect from beginning to end. And I'm not saying that like Last Crusade has.
I was going to
it's a
say,
flabby
what's
movie.
the fat in Last Crusade? Because that movie is toy.
Yeah, but I don't know. But then like then you have Sean Connery. In the
Exactly.
third one. So yeah, that's what I said. I leave it to the philosophers, man. I will never be able to answer it. I could spend 80 years thinking on nothing but that, and I'll never come to an answer. So let's go ahead and jump over to your number 8.
Okay.
All right. You got another Spielberg.
I do have
Or
another.
I guess your first Spielberg.
My-
No, you have Jaws too. Okay.
Yeah, I have Jaws.
Okay.
Dude, I mean, do I have to say much about this?
No, the only reason this isn't on my list at all is
Yeah.
because I saw it.
And
you haven't
in
said it
theaters.
yet, so
I did not see it in theaters.
Jurassic Park is what we're talking about. 'Cause you
Jurassic,
have-
oh, right. I didn't even say that.
you haven't
Yeah, I'm
stated
sorry.
it,
Yeah, Jurassic Park. I didn't see it in theaters. The first time I saw Jurassic Park was at home on VHS. So I've never experienced the T-Rex's footstomps in
Oh man,
person.
just life.
I mean, I saw The Lost World and I saw Jurassic Park 3 in theaters. Alan. So, but
Nonsense.
I think I saw Jurassic World in theaters too. So I've experienced it since then, but
It's not the same.
it's not the same,
It's
man.
not the same.
And especially that opening weekend with all those people there.
'Kay.
It's a Spielberg film. There's
Ev-
going to be lots of people.
Every Jurassic Park sequel is like you've lost a loved one, and watching the sequels instead of the original is like hugging their clothes.
oh,
Like
God.
that's
Good Lord.
that's the equivalent of, because they suck, man. Every one of them. Every sequel to that movie sucks. I'm done. I used to be a little bit gracious with some. No, that series was good for exactly one film, and it's one of the greatest films of all time.
Hot take from Tad here.
Well, I don't think it is, because I don't think there's a lot of people that like rant and rave about any of the sequels. I mean, there's some younger people that really get into the Jurassic World stuff, but like, I don't know if I've heard of someone over the age of like 15 that adore. Well, around the time,
Yeah.
like they'd be older now. I don't think anyone's really linked with those movies the same way as the original.
As we
and,
did,
And
no.
the sequels, I think every one of them was like a big letdown. Like, because you were expecting the level of the first one, and you just
Yeah.
never got it.
It's
So-
one of those series that absolutely proves the point where everyone's like, oh, the first one's better. Name a sequel that's better, kind of thing.
No, you're not finding it there.
You're not finding it in Jurassic Park. And there's no argument in that.
Honestly,
for me.
I've come to the conclusion over the last probably year that I believe there are some intellectual properties that have a finite amount of films that they have with them. Everything after that, they're beating a dead horse.
Terminator.
Because Terminator, there's 2.
Yep.
And I could defend the third one to a point, but does it exist to the same level to exist on the same plane as 1 and 2? Absolutely not.
Right.
That was good for 2 fucking movies. James Cameron ended in a way to where it's done. You're done. Everything from there, you're just trying to beat out of a dead horse.
Now you're just trying to make
Jurassic Park, there was 1 movie. Everything past that. The sad thing is they keep making money off of them, so they're just going to keep making them. But it's like
because everyone loves dinosaurs.
creatively, they haven't done anything good since '93. So good pick. But
Yeah.
I did see it in theaters. Little 8-year-old Tad
Honestly,
or whatever,
I just-
or 7-year-old Tad.
I honestly just want to feel the.
Oh, dude, and that's the thing, because that was one of the first movies that utilized full 3D THX.
Yeah.
Because THX existed previous, but the first one to really use the surround, like the 3D surround effect, was Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And dude, I remember feeling the T-Rex in my chest. I felt the base
Yeah.
of that in the chest. Like,
I will say I did see Lost World and I saw it at the drive-through, like
Okay.
not the drive-through, the drive-in.
yeah, the drive-in. Yeah.
So I didn't even see Lost World in theaters.
I love the emojis in
So-
the chat, by the way.
Oh, from my wife. Yeah, you were talking about bugs. What do you expect from her?
Is it all
also,
bugs or just centipedes?
centipedes, millipedes, spiders, scorpions, anything with like big things too. Like I don't think she's a huge fan of like the beetle got her in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom because they like pull open that beetle and eat it.
And, yeah.
But I think that's because they're eating it, not necessarily because it's a beetle.
What
so.
about cutting the snake open?
That did not do well. But she wants a snake, supposedly. So
Yeah.
Mike says the movie has so many great quotes talking about Jurassic Park. Jeff
Or
Goldblum is the key.
He may have put that in when we were still
No,
talking.
it was
Raiders.
it was Jurassic Park. I was watching. I
I saw when
it.
it came in though. It was right about the transition, so it could have been either one.
Oh,
Either way, you can chime in. But yeah, I mean, it's true,
got one of the
true
best.
either way.
One of my favorite.
Quotes for JP.
Yeah.
Okay, it came in early enough that I was like,
Um,
that could have still been Raiders.
I still love that. That is one big pile of shit.
Yeah,
I still say
it's-
say that.
it's such a good movie. It's such a good one.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, that's a great one.
So what do you got for 8?
So for me, number 8, I've got The Godfather. This one, there's some element of maybe people's reaction because people had not really seen a movie before that, like, I don't know. I don't want to say like made heroes of because I don't know that the Corleones
Humanized.
humanized. That's
Humanized
the first time
the
that
villains.
the first time that criminals were humanized and portrayed in a very sympathetic light. So I think that
Not all Al Capone, like I'm gonna kill ya.
yeah,
kind of
because
guy.
even like the original Scarface in the 30s, like
Sure.
yeah, Scarface is the main character, but like he was never portrayed as he was basically a two-dimensional cartoon villain.
Right.
Like,
Which is funny because we just talked about Al Capone the other day, me and you, and I don't remember if we were with anyone else, but we were talking about how Al Capone was like a good guy aside from the criminal and murder and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he took care of like his neighborhood
community,
and the community
yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that because he knew they wouldn't rat him out then if he took care of them.
yeah, he was
and
doing
stuff like
He
that.
was doing more with soup kitchens and stuff than the actual government or like cities or anyone else or the even religious communities. He was doing more to help poor and impoverished people than
Yeah.
anyone else. So
at a desperate time for them too,
But I mean, Godfather, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. I love the entire trilogy. I love all of them. But the first one's always going to be my favorite. I think 1 and 2 is a really hard debate too. But for me, the cincher is I love James Caan as Sonny.
Yeah.
Sonny's one of my favorite characters, and he's barely in the second one.
Yeah.
So I adore how much we get of him in that one, and also Brando. I mean, I honestly tend to forget that Brando's not in the second one.
Yeah.
So Brando and Khan, like that 1-2 punch, it's one for me. Like
And then
I
on
love
top,
two.
and then on top of that, you have all those other fabulous actors in it as well.
Oh, yeah.
not just besides those
yeah,
two.
Duvall,
Duvall, Pacino.
Al Pacino, yeah.
What's his wife's name?
Diana Keaton
Diana Keaton is
Diane Keaton.
Diane Keaton is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
The mom,
yeah.
Marlon Brando's wife. I love her.
Yeah.
She's so funny.
Yeah, the whole and we're talking about quotable here. I mean,
Oh,
it's
God.
Godfather is one of the most like
Literally in the chat, Mike says, "I'll make him an offer. I can't refuse." This movie was my intro to Brando. I didn't know what I was missing.
yeah, exactly. And it's same here. I think I discovered Brando way more after The Godfather. But everything I've seen from him, he's incredible. I mean, he transformed acting. Like acting in the old days, it was a little bit more like actors didn't try to fully get into the heads of their characters. They just tried to like read like John Wayne. You read the lines, you move on. Like they weren't trying to embody truthfully the characters.
Which is why you turn on 60%, 70% of John Wayne's films, and it's the same dude on screen.
And Brando, like he changed act. People are like, wait, what? Like,
Wait,
what
that's
is-
him?
What is he doing there?
That's
like,
the same guy?
yeah, it's just he transformed, and that's how we expect actors to do it now.
Yeah.
And it's because of him. And this movie's just top to bottom is incredible. I'd love so again the reactions would be cool, but also just to see it on screen would be incredible for me. So. Next up, number 7. And actually, this is another one I'm glad I didn't think of. For Mike here, he has Back to the Future in 1985. I'm glad I didn't think of this whole. 2 would have been
1 and 2.
debatable for me. So I'm glad I didn't think of these because that would have made my choices even harder. But Back to the Future, classic. Another one, every frame of it for the most part, right? It's a great one. I love it. So good pick there, Mike. Love Back to the Future. Love the second one too. Third one, a lot of people tell me they love it too. I always felt the third was a little bit of a letdown.
I like the third one.
But the first one, it's a banger.
Yeah.
It's a great. We mentioned it earlier. We mentioned the DeLorean, right?
I really do like the second one too because it plays a lot off of the first one.
Yeah.
Like you go back to the first one, you go back to the future, back to the past, kind of thing. That's one of the great things about 2.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here.
My wife's number 7.
Yeah, let me figure this out here. Or I guess, do you want to put ours up on the screen based on hers?
Is it a similar one?
Yeah, it's one we all have. All 4 of us have this one.
No, we can save ours.
Putting it up on screen. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to close my camera for just a second. My contact just fell out. I don't want to gross anyone out.
See, look at Peter being all nice and shit. I would have just fucking done that shit.
I'm not a monster like you.
All right, so Lydia at number 7 has Star Wars Episode 4. And yeah, I will.
I'm so proud of her right now.
It's honestly maybe one of the ones that inspired me with this question, because I mean, it's just legendary. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
yes, Jaws invented the blockbuster, but Star Wars perfected the blockbuster, and just. Like Brando changed acting, Star Wars changed filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like it just film today is
Sure.
different because what George
She
Lucas
says
did.
Star Wars Episode 4 again, classic, and I would love to see the audience reaction in theaters.
Yeah.
it's yeah, and I'm going to save a lot of what I have to say about Star Wars because it is on my list.
Yeah, it is.
So.
It's on. Yeah, exactly. So
My number 7 or your number 7?
yeah, and then Mike says on all 4 lists. Not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go. Your number 7.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to say it this time. I'm going to go for my third Steven Spielberg in a row. Saving Private Ryan.
I thought about it,
Dude,
I
Saving
did.
Private Ryan, Normandy Beachhead alone in surround sound. It's 1997, 99,
98.
98.
Yeah. I saw.
I still would see it. I've heard stories that veterans, not just World War II veterans, but veterans,
oh yeah, they were.
it was too realistic for them, and some of them had to get up. They also said that some of them were able to, a lot of them were obviously able to stay. They say it's the most realistic depiction of warfare
Of
that
combat,
they've ever seen,
yeah.
and everything like that. I would love to see that on the big screen. I honestly think this is a dark horse for Tom Hanks' best role ever.
That's what Mike says. Perhaps Tom Hanks' best performance.
That's yeah. Everyone goes for Forrest Gump. That's like the clear favorite for him is Forrest Gump, and then there's a couple others that get tossed around a lot. Green Mile.
That'd be
gets thrown
an
around.
interesting one to think through, because I think he's done a lot.
He's
of
done
good.
a ton of
I
good
mean,
stuff.
we're not-
I've had people
we haven't
argue
mentioned
big.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia
I mean,
won
I think
Academy
Philadelphia.
Awards.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia might. Be
I've
my
never
pick.
seen that one, so I can't say. But when people say Tom Hanks and they're talking about all these different roles, and I'm like, do you guys forget how good he was in Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah,
Like, he was amazing.
I saw that one in theaters, but it wasn't opening weekend, certainly.
Sure.
But also, the reason I thought about it, this almost made my list. The reason I thought about it is because I believe I would appreciate it way more today in my 30s than I
Yes.
did when I was 12 or
12.
13
yeah,
when it came out.
would have been 12.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
so I'm a huge World War II buff now.
Yeah, and I was then to
Yeah.
an extent, but nowhere near what I am now.
I
Like
didn't know anything about World War II then. I liked World War II. It's fascinating to read about. It's such a dark time in history. So of course it draws in certain people, and me and you are like that, where it's just like, God, this is fascinating to read, like the different aspects. Literally the whole world's at war.
Yeah,
World War I is a world war, but it largely takes place in one continent.
yeah, one area for the most
You know,
part. It was pretty.
there's
It
little-
was centralized.
There's little things here and there, man. Almost every single continent on the planet had some kind of action during World War II.
except for Antarctica.
No, there was a war in Antarctica. That's when the penguins rose to power. That's when the
I heard
seals,
they're good. I heard they're good marchers.
That's when the
penguins.
seals were pushed into the sea.
I heard they march.
became aquatic.
They march in unison really well,
Yeah,
and
But-
they make that flappy noise.
yeah.
Tenth-
I don't know where the penguin is this week. I'm nervous.
10,000
But yeah,
penguins.
that's the reason for Saving Private Ryan is that opening
And it's a
scene,
good movie
and it is a
throughout too. But that
fantastic
that
movie.
opening scene, like it's.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like
that opening scene is the reason why it jumped Jaws and Jurassic Park. I initially
Okay.
had it at 9, and it jumped them simply because of that opening scene.
honestly, I've never put this together until now, but it's smaller because I will say that opening scene is longer than people remember.
It is.
It's like a 20-minute scene, but I would say that that movie is very much like Full Metal Jacket, because Full Metal Jacket, there's 2 movies there.
Yes.
There's the drill sergeant stuff, and then there's the second
Where they're
fight where
in
they're in
Vietnam.
Vietnam. I think Saving Private Ryan's the same way. There's
You have the beach
there's
head,
the beach
and then you have
and the rest of the movie. Yeah, like, and I know that sounds a little, because I think Full Metal Jacket is a little bit more equal side
Yes.
to side. I mean, I'd say it's like 2/3 is the drill sergeant and a third. And this is like maybe a third to. I guess it's about the same.
About
Then
the
it's
same.
just yeah. But there's two movies there.
Full Metal Jacket feels longer in the drill sergeant bit than
Yeah.
Normandy does.
Yeah, well, because it is the longer part. That's
It
the only
is.
thing that is. It's reversed.
Oh, it is. It's
Because
inverted.
Normandy's the 20 minutes, whereas Vietnam's the 20 minutes in Full
Yes.
Metal Jack type thing. So yeah, but yeah, that's always I've always find that funny though. It's like two movies smashed into one. But
Mike says Greyhound with Tom Hanks is another good World War II
I need to
movie.
watch
I've
that.
never
That's
even
on
heard
that's
of
on
that.
Apple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like he's a ship captain chasing Japanese. I remember seeing
Ooh.
trailers for it. Yeah, it's on Apple, which hopefully is releasing the next Band of Brothers series this year. I'm
This
hoping.
year, yeah.
I'm hoping so.
What's that called?
Masters of the Air?
Masters of the Year.
I think so. Okay, so my number 7, and there will be no question what I'm going for here, and it is Planet of the Apes.
Ooh. I forgot about this one.
If we're talking reactions and crowd reactions, Planet of the fucking Apes, man. Like,
Mike says about the Greyhound, he's a destroyer captain
Oh.
escorting transports and cargo
oh
ships
yeah,
across the Atlantic.
they're being
Wolf
chased.
packs.
They're being chased. That's what it was. He's not chasing Japanese. They're
Yeah.
chasing him. It's been.
the Atlantic, so the Germans.
Oh, I thought it was in the Pacific, but
Yeah.
yeah. So Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
I mean, this makes perfect sense with
it's
the ending and everything.
It's a great movie. I love sci-fi. It's sci-fi, but I mean, come on.
That ending, dude. I know
How
I get it.
how people are going to react to it? I just
Yep.
that's the main event. That's the reason why it's on the list versus some that didn't make my cut.
One of the fascinating things about this list and talking about this is I wonder, did people react to movies back then?
I think
like
they-
nowadays we do, but I
no,
don't know
they
about
did
then.
more back then. I think because
Yeah.
there was even some like that I dropped off my list because I felt like the time period that they came out, people were less react. Because I feel like you'd hear more gasps and shit back in the older days because
Yeah.
people just had a certain mentality, and I just the thing is something like Planet of the Apes. We're conditioned to know that something like that could happen. In '68, they didn't know that could fucking
No.
happen, dude. They didn't know they could be fucking bamboozled by a movie that way.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's where like you would hear like verbal reactions more versus like someone in like 2009 watching something like they're going to be conditioned to a lot more because they've seen a lot of shit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Yes, Mike, I love the Simpsons Dr. Zayas song. That was my ringtone for like 3 years. That's a great one. But yeah, Planet of the Apes, that's what I mean, and it's a great movie too. Although the other one in '68, there's a lot. I'd probably spend some time in '60 because I didn't put them on my list, but let me just mention because I think '68 is a very interesting year.
Okay.
Planet of the Apes, 2001: Space Odyssey,
Ooh.
2 of the all-time fucking bangers for sci-fi,
Yeah.
and then Night of the Living Dead, all in the same
Oh,
year, dude.
I didn't even think about zombies.
Dude, yeah, all 3 of those. Like you create zombies. You do one of the most advanced. Like you watch 2001 today, it looks like it's like an 80s movie, but it
Really?
came out in '68. And then Planet of the Apes, like just so 68 is like a weird like how the fuck did that all happen in one
Yeah.
year? So that outside of our list, I'd probably be parking that DeLorean in '68 for maybe some time.
Go find out how far apart they were.
How far apart they all were exactly. And it would have been before Blockbuster, so they probably would have been scattered hither, thither, and yon. It wouldn't have just been like July to
One in January, one in June, one in December.
probably, man. Okay, so moving on to number 6.
6 for me. Your 6 is already revealed with Jaws, so 6 for Mike.
Okay, so Mike's gonna piss you off a little bit here.
Okay.
Tremors, 1990.
No, I'm mad that.
'Cause
Okay,
you-
I'm mad that I forgot.
Yeah,
about
you're
it.
mad you forgot it, and I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
going to be great because Mike actually mentioned that. He says, he had to put a note on this one. He said, I love all the Tremors, the 6 movies and the TV show. I hate the term guilty pleasures, which actually, Mike, we're going to dock you a little bit here because that term is not allowed on this show.
Not allowed.
That because there is no such thing.
Nope.
If you take pleasure from it, just own it. It's your
Hey,
thing. Like, yeah, no,
Let your geek flag fly.
exactly. There's no such thing as guilty pleasure. So we'll give you this warning, Mike, but no more of that phrase. No more of that phrase.
Shame.
No,
No, it's okay.
No, it's okay, but
Yeah.
I do dislike that term because I feel like it makes people like it's almost like people are apologizing for something
Yes.
they like, and I'm not into that.
Yeah,
Like,
Mike, we're just messing with you.
I'm
with that.
I'm just messing with you for the most. But I'm with you. I hate that term because like, dude, if you love something, just
Why?
fucking love it. Like,
Yeah.
to hell with anyone else if they don't.
I got
like
a
it.
dirty look at someone the other day at work. They're like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "Music." They're like, "Oh yeah, anything good?" I'm like, "No, I have everything on here." So currently, it's a Backstreet Boys song. And he like looked at me. He's like, "Backstreet Boys." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Nothing." I'm like, "I'm 37 years old. I don't give a shit, dude. I'll listen to something from when I was a teenager. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's what I want to watch. It's what I want to listen to. It's if you, dude. And Tremors. I don't care what anyone says. The first Tremors movie is fucking
He said,
fantastic.
he said he loves them all on the show. He says, but I have to use it. But if I had to use it, I would use it for Tremors as
Yeah.
guilty pleasure. So,
Yeah.
no, and I remember. I think I've seen the first two for sure. Beyond that, I'm not sure if I've seen.
I
them.
think I saw 3.
I know I rented the first one countless times. Like that was one of those
Yeah.
ones at Hollywood Video I'd go to, and like if I couldn't find anything else, nothing else struck my fancy. There was a couple go tos I always went to, and Tremors was
You
one
would
of them.
rotate through them and everything like
It
that.
was what's in the mood, and Tremors was one of them. So no, that's a good one.
Tremors is still the reason why I look for a rock when I'm out in the desert. Well, where's my boulder?
when I saw his list here, and I was like, oh, Peter, and then I saw it was on your list, and then a little like 20 minutes ago, you're like, I'm kind of bummed I didn't put Tremors on
I
my
forgot
list.
about it, dude.
Yeah.
I have a few horror films on my list, and I can't believe I forgot Tremors.
Yeah.
Scariest movie of all.
Yeah, I mean Kevin Bacon is terrifying.
No.
So, who else is in that? Is it Reba McEntire?
Reba McEntire's.
That's what I thought. I couldn't. Yeah, it's been.
Fred Ward is the other guy.
It has been a long time since I've
Fred
watched
Ward?
it.
Is that his
I
name?
actually don't even think I own that one. I need to.
Oh, that's a shame.
I need to rectify that. I haven't seen that one in a while. But it's just that's a great horror movie too. Like,
It is.
because I don't know if people would classify it as a full on true horror, but it really is. Like that movie. Is
Kevin
fucking
Bacon, Fred Ward, Finn Carter, Michael Gross, Reba McEntire.
Yeah.
Or the-
No, that one was terrifying. Because it's just, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like,
Especially where they are.
yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like that. So that's what terrified me as a kid. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I can stay away from Crystal Lake or whatever. But like, if I'm out in the desert and freaking graboids come, like I'm fucked. Like there is no escape.
Oh, Burt Gummer, yeah.
Yeah.
Underground Beast for Peter. Absolutely.
Oh, we mentioned that.
Ambush predators are not fun. I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Okay. So then, moving over to number 6.
What the fuck? It's PG-13?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because Hollywood had a thing I think where the parents could sign off for rated R movies. But I remember every once in a while people would still give me guff when I was trying to rent something R, and I never had issues. Because I think there was even one time I was trying to get a horror movie and they told me I couldn't do it, even though my thing was marked to let me.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed Tremors instead.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. But then number 6 for Lydia is 6th Sense.
There's the big twist. one.
Yeah, and this almost made my list.
This made my shotgun list, but not my full list.
Spoiler alert, it did not make my list, but it almost did. And I also do appreciate it was number 6, too.
Hey, well done, Lydia. Well done. She says Sixth Sense, one of the greatest twists of all time, and it would be amazing to see it in theater. Just to see the theater, the people's reaction. Absolutely,
and-
100%. And that's the reason why I thought of it.
The reason it fell off mine is because I did see it in theaters.
Oh,
the only reason I thought about maybe if I didn't have so many other good ones to fight is because I do think I would appreciate it more now as a 30-something-year-old
Yeah.
than when it came out I was younger. So I don't think it would have hit me as hard. Or if it did, I would have been trying to act all tough about it. Just like, oh, whatever. Like, I don't know, just a stupid punk kid. But now I think I'd be able to appreciate it more than I would have then. So.
She says total accident that it was at 6, LOL.
Oh no, you gotta claim that as what you did on purpose.
So the funny thing about Sixth Sense, the reason why I left it off my list, the first time I watched it, I tagged along with my older sister to a hangout. We don't exactly have parties here in Utah. Like
Parties aren't allowed.
By
law,
like
they're
the
not.
classic sense. When I say a party, everyone's like picturing like kids dancing and stuff. No, we got together and watched movies. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Growing up religious in my house and everything. So we went over to this house for one of her friends, and the parents watched it with us to make sure that I'm a couple years younger than everyone there. We're partway through the movie, and I'm like, Bruce Willis is dead, and everyone looked at me and was like, dude, why'd you spoil it? And I'm like, what? I haven't seen this. And they're like, what? And I'm like, he's dead. Like, that's the movie. Like, he's dead. Like, obviously. And they're like, what? Like, they were pissed at me because I spoiled. It's like this big twist. I spoiled it for like 10 people who hadn't seen it. So I always felt like an asshole for that, but I figured it out. It was like not halfway through. It was probably like 3/4, maybe 80% of the way through the movie. But I figured it out. I'm like, no one's talking to him. Like, no one has talked to him except the kid for the entire movie.
Yeah.
So, like, it just clicked in my brain. I was like 15 or 16 at the time or something like that when I saw it. But, yeah.
Yeah. Then in the chat, Mike's asking if Lydia feels that M. Night Shyamalan painted himself into a corner and never figured a way out. And she agrees everyone's expecting a twist from him, and then it kind of removes the suspense of it.
Yeah.
And and honestly, yeah. That's why I'm not a huge fan of his, because I feel like it's always just a matter of like, what's the twist going to
Sure.
be? And I don't know.
It's funny. The movie that came out later in his career, after Sixth Sense and after Signs, do you remember the movie The Village?
Yeah.
That movie had a better twist ending for me than Sixth Sense did, because I saw Sixth Sense is coming. I did not see The Village is coming.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of funny to me. Like, oh, all right.
Okay, so then it's just you for 6, because
Was Jaws.
Yeah, mine was Jaws, so that's already
Correct.
on there. Okay. It's hard to see on my screen a little bit because of the red
No,
background.
the red on red.
Yeah, I guess you could see it. It's just not as easy. And
Yeah.
it might be smaller, too.
It is smaller.
I think I may have had a longer one in there, so I turned the text size down, and I don't think I noticed it, so I need to fix that at some point.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so you got number 6. You've got... Go ahead.
Horror movie, The Mist, has such an ending that I want to see people's reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the ending to this movie and everything like that is the reason why I want to see this. It's the same as, like, The Sixth Sense. See the audience's reaction to it. Also, just seeing Mrs. Carmody, one of my most hated characters of all time, up on the big screen.
Yeah.
I very well might throw something through the screen. I hate this character so much.
Yeah.
Like, how people reacted to Joffrey is how I react to her.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is violent. Like, if I ever met the real Mrs. Carmody, not the actress, like, if I got transported into this film, I legit would probably go to jail for murder.
Yeah.
Like, I hate this woman so much. So, like, she is diabolical and evil in every sense of the
Expiation,
word.
sir.
Oh, shut up. No.
Blood sacrifice, or blood atonement.
Blood atonement.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No, it's a good one. I will admit this is not on my list. This is one.
What?
Yeah, this is one of the hardest ones.
Oh my god!
I saw it in theaters, so
Oh.
yeah, I saw it in
wow.
theaters. So that's the.
I thought this was a for sure Tad.
No, because I have. I will say I've watched every reaction video that is possible for
Yeah.
it. But I did see it in theaters, so I think
Okay.
that's the big thing where it's like I didn't miss out on it. It wouldn't have been opening night. And again, I do think I'd appreciate it more now than I would have then. But it was just a matter of
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a tough list, man.
It is.
This probably could have been a top 20 for sure.
It could have for me. I did 22 on my shotgun list alone.
So then over to 5, Mike has The Matrix.
Oh.
1999. He says, I saw this movie in theaters in the summer of 99, but not the premiere. So, yeah, I think that would have been critical because, I mean, it became so big that by the time you're a month out of that movie coming out, like, it's one of the most parodied thing. I mean, you're seeing shit on Saturday Night Live spoofing it. Like, every commercial is showing, like, the bullet time. Like, it was so ubiquitous that, like, it would have been, you had to be there at the beginning to get shocked by it, I think.
Yeah.
Or not to be shocked, but, like,
to be wowed by it.
to be fully wowed by it. And that's a good one because I think I saw it just not opening night. I saw it in theaters for sure. It just wasn't opening night, so I was already kind of
Yeah.
aware of, like, when that roof scene happens, the first bullet time where he goes down the iconic, like, I knew that was coming. I think I had
Yeah.
seen it in a TV spot or somewhere. I was, oh yeah, I know this is the point where he's on the roof. So
The funny thing I remember is that they talked about how they did it while the movie was still in theaters. There was, like, big interviews with the Wachowskis at the time, brothers, and now it's brother and sister.
sisters both.
Oh, both. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know. I only knew the one. I'm sorry. So the Wachowski sisters, at the time, they were talking about it, and I remember seeing it on, like, TV they were talking about it. They showed like interviews from them talking about it while it was still in theaters, how they did it and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because everyone was just blown away by it.
Was,
so it was a matter
one of those
like,
special effects.
They had like 60 Minutes had a thing where they were showing
that's where
like,
I saw it.
how
That's
it was
where I
filmed
saw
and
it.
stuff. Yeah, so
yeah,
it was definitely everywhere. So seeing an opening night, that would have been something.
That would have been something else.
Yeah, because it just it becomes one of the biggest fucking movies.
Yeah,
I mean, it still has an impact today. To see it that first night would have been, you would have gone in blind. You would have just been like, I mean, not us with our time machines, but everyone else would have been going in blind. You probably would.
And it would have been fun to watch them react to it and everything like that. Especially that bullet time scene and everything.
Oh yeah.
Mike says my ringtone from 2010 on has been and will always be a ringtone from The Matrix. I don't know if I would trust that because it's like some of them died when they picked up the phone. So.
I will say, well, it's probably the cell phone ring.
I know. It's scary.
One thing I will say from that movie that has stuck around for a long time is because we're relatively young. We're in the younger generation. We don't really ring doorbells and knock as much.
Yeah.
How many times have I text you, knock, knock, Neo? And
a couple times,
and then knocked. Like, that was a regular thing for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
for a few years there, you would do that coming over to my place. You'd be like, my phone would, my phone would go off. I'd pull it up, knock, knock, Neo, and then you'd knock on my door.
Yeah. And then number 5 for Lydia is Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, one of her all-time favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
she
loves
it.
For us, we know. Like, that's just like a.
Yeah. My wife adores Nightmare Before Christmas. Who
doesn't?
We have Nightmare Before Christmas stuff all over our house.
I mean, Oogie Boogie is a legend.
He is.
He's the best.
No.
Yeah, he's great.
No.
And Lock, Stock, and Barrel are incredible too.
Yeah.
I love them.
Lock, Shock, and Barrel, I think. Is it Shock or Stock? She will know. Nightmare Before Christmas, this is what she says in the chat. This movie has been a huge impact on my life when I was introduced by a friend in junior high. Ever since she was introduced to it by a friend in junior high. Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
We had it on VHS pretty early, probably when it first came out on VHS. But so I never saw it in theaters. But yeah, it's a great one.
It's funny. We have it pegged to watch every Halloween,
but how
like October and everything. And somehow 2 or 3 times the rest of the year, it still just sneaks onto the TV.
But here's the thing. How are you going to watch that without singing along?
Oh,
and get burned as a witch.
Don't.
You're going to get burned as a witch on opening night.
Oh, that's true. Oh, well, like traveling back in time. Yeah. You just look at them and be like, I saw a sneak peek of it. I already saw it.
I will say though, I sang along in Lion King as kids because they bought us the album. And I think it came out before the movie.
It always does.
And we listened to it on repeat with me and my cousins and shit. And then we all went as a huge family to go see it. So by the time we went and saw it, we all knew every lyric. So I guess maybe you could go with that.
Yeah.
But
the album
still
dropped before. I just have the album. Yes,
that'll do.
Now the hard part for her would be explaining the Jack Skellington tattoo on her back. She'd have to make sure to cover that. She has it right back here on the back of her neck. So she'd have to make sure to wear something like a scarf or something to hide that, or at least a collar.
Or me showing up as Oogie Boogie to the theater.
Yeah,
just dressed like him. No, they would just think it's part of like the studio sentiment or something.
Yes, I'm here from the studio.
Oh, I love him. He's the best. Okay, so next up we are going over to your number 5, and then my number 3.
I knew this one would be on your list.
Oh yeah, it has to.
And I know the reason why it's on your list.
I mean,
people fainted when they saw The Exorcist for the first time.
This is The Exorcist.
The original Exorcist, not
1973.
There's a bunch of different exorcism films and everything like that. This is the OG Exorcist.
73.
73.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
I'm gonna let you go ahead. I did the last one.
So for me, I mean, there's a couple movies that no matter, cause I watch reaction videos on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching young people experience movies for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You can always tell if they're faking it too. But there's a couple movies that I will watch every single reaction video that exists.
This is one of them.
This and Airplane are two of the ones for sure where it's like, oh, they're watching that, I'm gonna watch their reaction.
Yeah.
And The Exorcist is because this movie is still, I think, probably one of the scariest movie ever made potentially.
Yeah.
And people react still. I mean, there's young people today I see watch it that I'm like, oh, are they gonna be able to like dig with like those slower burn, and they're as freaked out, if not
Yep.
as much as people were back in '73
or more because they're not used to a slow burn.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So I can just imagine.
They're getting marinated more.
I mean, this movie was just transformational for horror.
People fainted.
Yeah, people were fainting. There was like all kinds of like there was warnings being given out and stuff.
Yeah.
Like this just fucked with people in
Oh,
like
yeah.
a deep and fundamental way. And I just to watch that happen would be.
Yeah.
I would just drink it in. I'd be like the outsider from
Now,
Stephen King.
would you trade the rest of the 9 on your list for an Exorcist showing where someone faints?
No, I don't even need to see someone faint. I would just be
Okay.
just watching people freak out would
Okay.
just be, leaving, fleeing the theater in terror.
Yeah.
Like, just come on, man.
Okay.
It'd be incredible. So yes, good stuff. What about what do you got?
I mean, I said it. Like people's reaction and stuff like that is the big thing for this one. I still regard this as the scariest movie I've ever seen.
yeah,
The biggest thing for me is knowing that something very similar to this happened. They changed a couple aspects of the film, but there is a documented case that this is based off of.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that, to me, when it's set like that, like Blair Witch would be one of the most terrifying movies of all time if that
it were
was real.
Yeah,
If they took a story like that let's say that happened in the 70s,
yeah.
and that they transitioned it to the 90s and they made it based off of that would be one of the scary that aspect of realism to me is terrifying.
Maybe that's the national parks thing. Is Blair Witch?
Missing 411.
Yeah.
Maybe they were in a national forest.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
They could have been.
Mike says the special effects were amazing, but the acting is what was mind blowing. Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah.
incredible. I mean, Linda
Still
Blair.
to this day, that priest freaks you out because he looks so ancient in that film.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the fact that the dude was 40 years old when he was doing the role,
Yeah.
as Father Merrin, the old priest, yeah, that tripped me out. I think it was because Game of Thrones cast Max von Sydow, and I remember looking him up, and it's like he's the Exorcist. He's wait, Father Merrin.
You're like, wait a minute, he's still living?
there's no way he's still alive. He was
Yeah.
like 100 years old in 1973.
Yeah.
Like, and then I went and looked it up. And like, oh my god, he was like 42. Like,
Yeah.
so makeup wise, yeah, the special effects, even those like small rudimentary, like, hey, we're making a 40-year-old look like a fucking 80-something-year-old.
Yeah.
Let alone like Linda Blair. All
Sure.
totally made up, but yeah, incredible. One of my all-time favorite movies
Absolutely.
too. I enjoy it top to bottom, and just to see it then and when it came out would be something else.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now we are going to my number 5, right?
Yes.
Is that where we're at? And that is actually your number 1.
Oh.
That is Star Wars.
There it is.
The original, which again, I'm not even going to call it New Hope because
Yep.
in 1977 when it came out, it was just called Star Wars.
You
So-
would get you would get burned as a witch if you
I'm-
called it that.
Exactly. I'm not like a purist like some of the people are with that, but yeah, I'm for the sake of this argument, I'll call it Star Wars.
Okay.
Yes, it'd be hard not to whistle along to the theme. It'd be hard not to talk along the dialogue, but I mean, transformational. I
Yep.
mean, this movie absolutely turned Hollywood on its head. It just to watch people react to it. I mean, it's so normal to us. We know every beat of the movie, but like I remember reading some stuff like at the time, like reviews where they're just like, this movie's like a breakneck speed. Like I almost couldn't keep up with it because
Yeah.
like how much is going on, how fast. But it's like I think it actually feels kind of slow.
Yeah.
Like now, but it's like we also like filmmaking changed a lot, and we also kind of know every step of it. But it's like for them, like people felt like it was like a roller coaster. They didn't have time to process
Yeah.
things before it was on to the next thing. So, yeah, it would just be insane to see.
I just remember my mom telling me within the first month, I think, of seeing the film, and I think my wife was there when she told me the story too, a couple times. It's like the third time she told me. I remember her saying that when she went and saw Star Wars, it was within the first month, that first scene where the ships fly in, she ducked.
Yeah,
People weren't ready for
No,
that
it's
kind of
just-
special effects and stuff like
No.
that. And I would just be
sit in the back too, right?
I sit in the back. I can
Yeah.
watch everyone and to see all
Yeah.
their reactions. I've seen the movie probably 40, 50 times,
Oh, is that all?
I know I know every single line of that
Yeah.
movie. I know every sound effect of that movie.
Plus, you haven't seen it in theaters.
I've
We
never
established
s-
that last
this is,
episode.
Yeah, this is why it's number 1 on my list.
Okay.
One of my
And
all-time favorite movie.
It's your favorite Star Wars movie.
It is my
too.
favorite Star Wars movie, and I've never seen it in theaters, which is why it's my number 1.
Okay.
So that's case in point right there for why it's number 1. But all the reasons to see it is, honestly, it's that connection with my mom, too.
Yeah.
Because my mom doesn't seem like the type that would see a Star Wars movie. You know my mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She doesn't seem like the type that would go see a Star Wars movie, but she
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I mean, but also, she was in her 20s.
Can you imagine standing
So-
in line outside around a block for hours and hours and hours to get into it? That'd be weird.
We did.
That's-
We did for episode 3.
That's different. Okay, so then moving on, number 4, Mike, man after my own heart here, Godfather 2.
Oh, there we go.
So I'm assuming that Mike must be a Godfather 2 choice. You know, I always ask anyone that's Godfather fans, which one 1 or 2, because that's
Yeah.
usually one of the two is people's favorites.
Real
So-
fast before we get too far from Star Wars, Mike said the first time I saw Star Wars, I was 5. My neighbor rented it and the VCR, and they said I sat there transfixed on the screen for the whole movie,
Yeah.
which is rare for a 5-year-old to sit still
Oh.
for an entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. My dad would have been 6 or 7, and he went and saw it countless times. And I think at one point he smuggled a tape recorder in to record the audio.
Yeah.
And then he listened to it till the tape disintegrated.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
insane. But yeah, Godfather 2. So it looks like Mike's a 2 guy, which is totally fine.
Absolutely.
It's great. Like I said, for me, it's the small thing of Brando and Con are the only reasons I'm able to, because it's neck and neck, and then that's the only thing. So 2 though, it's incredible. Says I love all Godfathers. 2 just has so much more story. Yeah, I love all 3, but I think that everyone's absolute favorite's always going to be 1 or 2.
Yep.
Story wise, it would be something. And also,
Yeah.
what's the theater's reaction going to be when Fredo gets killed?
Yeah.
Like, that would be interesting because
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but I could have put all 3 Godfathers.
I know
on
it was
mine.
you, Fredo. You broke my heart.
Yeah, indeed. It's such a good movie. Another one that's like three something hours, and I can watch it at any given time. And then next up, Lydia at number 4 has Iron Man, 2008.
Oh, she wasn't into Marvel really that much. We met in 2011, so she would have missed Iron Man, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, all those early MCU
most of
movies.
that phase 1, because that was only 4 or 5 movies until Avengers
Yeah.
in 2012. So
when we were married in 2012, that's when we got married. So she saw Avengers with me in theaters and everything like that.
yeah,
She says Iron Man, huge Marvel fan, and I would love to experience the start in theaters, knowing where it goes exactly.
yeah.
So
Just knowing that at some point
we'll see.
Moon Knight
2000.
and Thanos are going to show up and all this. Like, dude,
What?
come on.
Let's see, 2008. So we might see Iron Man get re-released in theaters here in 5 years for its 20th anniversary.
Oh, that's hilarious.
What?
It's true, but it's hilarious. It's going to hurt people to hear that. So
I'm probably gonna get some hate.
So I'm going to jump to mine first, number 4. Mine, it's Alien. And
Honorable mention for me.
is there any question as to? I mean, for one,
chest burster.
for
scene.
one, it's a great movie, and today it still stands up as like
Yeah.
an incredible fucking movie to watch, top to bottom. It is, but dude, that dinner scene,
Yeah.
the reaction people have. You've seen that meme of the test audience, and there's like all the people like horrified and covering their faces. The one
No,
dude that's
I've
like
never seen
smiling.
that.
Really? Oh
No.
man, I thought I've shared it multiple times because
Oh.
it's my spirit animal. There's like one guy that's just smiling. Everyone else is like averting their eyes, like covering their face.
The one I
and
know that
there's
people
the
use
one
for
dude
that
he's
for
like
me,
laughing.
There's a GIF that people use for me. It's like a reality show where it's like one of those ones like Fear Factor where there's someone doing something. There's 2 girls and they both go and they like cringe and like cover their face, and then there's one guy who just starts, huge Pennywise smile.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I see, that's what I relate to with that. I've never seen just a picture of the Alien test footage.
Oh yeah. I'll have to find it. And,
Okay.
but yeah, let's go ahead over to your number 4 and my number 2. My list is almost done. Here.
Yeah, you're pretty wiped out here. Halloween, 1978. Jamie Lee Curtis, John Carpenter, Michael Myers' first appearance on film. It is my favorite horror film of all time. I'll put that out there on record, I fucking love Halloween. I watch it every single year in October. I love the music that Carpenter came up with. I love the setting. I love the story. I love everything about this movie. And I know that people loved it back then too.
Yeah.
So going to see it and seeing people's reaction to Jamie Lee Curtis's first time on the big screen.
Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance was a mainstay in Hollywood at the time and everything. And seeing Michael with the mask for the first time for a lot of people and everything. Hearing the music and everything. Dude, perfect setting. And it was released around fall time, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah, I'm blanking now. I think it was really. I mean, yeah, I don't think that they went as crazy with like putting stuff out in oddball times as they do nowadays. But
released October 25th, 1978. So I would be seeing it the week of Halloween.
yeah, which
So,
seems legit.
dude, that's amazing, right? Like to have that in the air and everything like that. I'd want to see it somewhere like I'd love to see it in like Springfield, Illinois.
Yeah,
Where it's like Haddonfield, Illinois. What?
or Haddonfield, New Jersey.
Haddonfield, New Jersey, where
The
the real city that it's based off of, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for me,
So
I mean,
you.
yeah, sorry. I was trying to see if I can get the picture from the Alien one to pull up. There's like yeah, it's not working right.
Okay.
So, yes, for me, Halloween, yeah, one of the greatest horror movies of all time. I love slashers. It's the greatest slasher of all time.
Yeah.
Watching people's reactions. There's a YouTube video. This actually I don't know. There's like YouTube videos that you can find of like audio of people recording like opening night of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then Halloween.
Really?
And just the audience reactions, and it's just those things are partially how this whole topic came to my mind too. So yeah, just seeing how people react, freaking out to a movie I know every frame of.
Yeah.
And it's one of my all-time favorites. I mean, I've got next to Star Wars, I think I probably own more copies of Halloween than any other
Terminator
thing.
2?
That's up there too, but Halloween, like, yeah, it's
You've bought every version of it.
pretty much. So
But we're talking just the first Halloween. We're not talking about all the sequels that he has this many copies of.
yeah, exactly.
Just the first Halloween.
But I do, yeah, Halloween's incredible. One of my all-time favorites. Yeah, good stuff.
And then everything I said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. All the yeah. I mean, just the audience's reactions. I mean, you've seen we're pretty much the end almost. Most of mine. There's a lot of horror movies and a lot of action, like stuff where you're getting reactions from people.
Yep.
Like that's
you dig that.
That's what I'm aiming at. That's what gets me for the most part. So,
Um,
all right. So
Yeah.
where are we at now?
Mike, number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Oh, and that's Jaws. We did cover that already.
Okay.
So that was where he had Jaws.
So Lydia's number 3?
Has Avatar,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yeah.
is 2010.
2010.
Okay. I don't know why, but there's 2010 and 2009 merged in my brain. There's a bunch of movies in 9 that I put in 10 and 10 that I put in 9. Like, they
Yeah.
just, I don't know what it is of those 2 years, but they just merged in my brain. Like,
Yeah.
it hurts.
She says in the chat, Avatar, one of the biggest box office movies ever. I want to see it in theater, specifically in 3D.
That was,
I don't think that she's ever seen it in 3D.
that was huge. That was a big thing. Like, I went
So.
3 or 4 times because
Avatar 2 is a regret that I missed it in theaters.
I knew I would never be able to see it in 3D to that same
Yeah.
same way. So I went 3 or 4 times. Yeah, it was incredible. It was awesome to see for sure. Good stuff. And I actually just because they did re-release it for when the second one was coming out, so I went and saw it again in 3D.
Oh, they released it?
Yeah, it was like a
I
week.
failed you.
A week before, and I went and saw it. It was great. The only thing I forgot is it was like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Like I
It's a lengthy movie.
I watched it a lot when it came out, but I hadn't seen a lot of it since. So, yeah, I was like, God, this is like, I was like looking at not that I was like bored, but I was like, I kind of got to pee. I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like thinking through. I'm like, well, there's still X, Y, and Z that has to happen. I'm like, how long is this fucking movie?
Yeah.
And then as I got out, I went and looked at the time. I'm like, that's like almost 3 hours. And I went and pulled up the thing. I'm like, yeah, it's like 2 hours and whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That was unheard of back then.
Yeah. Okay.
So my number 3?
Number 3 for you is
Return of the Jedi. I mean, you want to just go ahead and throw my number 2 up there, and I'll explain both of them at the same time?
yeah.
Because it's the Star Wars trilogy. We talked about this last week. I've never seen them in theaters. There's a reason they're on my list and they're this high is because I want to see them in theaters. It is on my bucket list. So
Yeah, I guess I'll just throw mine up because also Mike has Empire at 1 and Star Wars at 2.
okay.
And then you've got Star Wars and Empire, and I've got Empire at number 1.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, my number 1 is Star Wars, number 2 is Empire Strikes Back,
You
and
have them
number
in
3
order.
is Return of the Jedi.
So you just go in order. And,
That's
yeah.
the order that I like them.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Star Wars is the best, Empire is second, and Return of the Jedi is third. So I would see them in order, the correct way. I would legit go to Star Wars, I would legit go to Empire, and then I would legit go to Return of the Jedi in that
Yeah.
order and everything.
All right.
But Empire is fantastic. I would love to see the twist. The no, I am your father.
Yeah, I mean,
that's-
how people
dude,
react. Yeah, that's
It's the OG twist, right? Like, it's the twist.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest of all time. That's a big part, but also it's my favorite Star Wars. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've going back to see because that was my debate. I was really trying to minimize too much repeating from the same series. I did end up with Star Wars on my list, but Empire far and away number 1. Like,
Sure.
yeah, just between the twist, between it is my favorite Star Wars movie. Like, I would
Gotta
love
see
to
how people react.
Yeah,
right?
dude, what that would be like in 1980 would just be fucking game changing for me. So, like,
we should still have a couple from my wife as
yes,
well, right?
for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So, like I said, Empire and Star Wars is Mike's top 2 with Jaws at number 3. So that, and then both of our lists are fully realized now. And then let's see. Mike says I think Empire is the most quotable too.
No time to discuss this as a committee. I am
not
not
a
a committee.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, how many people do you think have gotten married and said "I love you"? I know.
Oh, so many.
Just
I used to have a shirt that says "I know" on it. My wife had one that said "I love you."
yeah. So yeah, the only thing to wrap up is your wife here, number 2, Titanic. So James Cameron.
Oh,
James Cameron
okay.
showing pretty heavy here.
Dude, that's a good one. I didn't think about that one.
I did actually. I did.
We've seen this in theaters. I swear to God, we went to this movie in theaters when it was re-released. I swear we did. Oh, she says we didn't see it, but I swear we saw it together.
I mean, seeing Propeller Man one more time on the big screen
Doink.
for old time's sake.
Yep.
No, but it's a great movie, man. I've thought about. I was thinking. I think I was looking into maybe buying it like on 4K.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to rewatch it again. But yeah, it's a great movie. I mean, James Cameron, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You can't beat him. He's
No.
he's incredible.
She says we haven't seen it in theaters. I swear we have.
I mean, maybe
swear we
you
have.
did.
I swear it was with her. Because the problem is that the theater that we saw it at was an abnormal theater. It was the district that we saw it at, and we only saw like 3 movies there. And so
That's where I did the Marvel marathon.
and that's why I'm saying that I think it had to have been with her, because it's not like it was before I started dating her or anything. That didn't open until after we were married. So I'm saying,
So
I
you
swear we saw
so
it
you
there.
didn't see it then. So- Yeah, that's a big one, and actually, that is one that'll always be remembered in my mind for 2 things. One, it's the last time I ever saw my grandparents in a movie theater.
No.
My grandma's still alive. My grandpa has passed away, but they weren't overly movie people.
Sure.
So, but they went. Like, this was an event.
Everyone.
The second thing is this is the only time I've ever seen a movie theater with people sitting in the aisles.
Really?
Don't tell the fire marshal, but yes, they oversold every screening, and there was legitimately every stair there was 2 to 3 people sitting side by side.
Wow.
So you couldn't get out. Like, there's no bathroom breaks, nothing. Like, it was the only time I've ever seen that. I've never seen anything like that before or
Jeez.
since. So huge, yeah, good stuff. James Cameron, can't never doubt the man.
Yeah.
And then number 1 for your wife is Little Mermaid.
Her favorite Disney movie of all time.
When did that come out? Was that
1985.
really? Mm-hmm. The problem with Disney is, like, Disney animation looks the same no matter what for the most part. So it's really hard to, like, carbon date them by looking at them.
I'm pretty sure it's 1985.
I thought it would have been older, but yeah, what do I know?
My wife's probably going to correct me because I'm probably wrong.
89.
89. Holy
And Mike
shit.
said it too, yeah. So
89.
Yeah.
I just assumed 85 because that's the year we were born.
Yeah, that didn't
And
sound...
our year was amazing. So,
No, not really.
yeah.
Movie-wise?
Yeah.
Nah.
Sir. Sir.
Nah.
Sir.
No, there's no Star Wars movie.
And?
there's an okay George Romero movie, but not a whole lot. And then she says, "Yep, year before I was born." And she says, "I'm a big kid at heart and absolutely a Disney adult, and this is my favorite Disney movie." So I remember watching this one a ton on VHS. That was one of my favorites as a young lad. Every time I would go over to my one grandma's, she just had all the Disney movies in those freaking white packages.
The ones that opened,
Yeah.
instead of sliding out the bottom.
Yeah. And I remember watching Little Mermaid a ton. I also remember when my uncle was dating what is now my aunt. At the time she was dating, and she had a little what was the dude's name? Flipper,
Yeah,
the little yellow dude.
Flounder.
And she had a little stuffed one, dude. And I coveted that thing so hard. It's just a wee little lad.
My wife says, "Little Mermaid." I'm a big kid at heart and absolutely a Disney
Yeah,
adult.
I read that already.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So, I dug that one because, and also, the squid lady, I loved her. I always
Ursula.
I always loved the villains, man, and yes, I always liked her because
Disney make
there-
good villains. Let's
th-
be honest. They make some of the best.
there was something just great about that.
Yeah,
That octopus human combination that was just unsettling.
that hybrid.
Yeah,
Mike says, "Squid Lady, LOL."
I mean, I don't. It's been VHS is the last time I watched.
It's
that
an
movie,
octopus,
so-
not a squid.
It's all the same.
No, it's not.
Tentacle lady. Why don't you just call it that?
Her getting skewered is amazing. My wife says.
No, but I used to love the is it Poseidon or do they call him something else?
Triton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
King-
So
King Triton.
I always liked him. And I always used to pretend I'd grab sticks and pretend I had his little scepter thing. The
Trident.
yes, I always pretended I had that
Yeah.
as a kid. So yeah, I actually dug that one a lot as a kid. But yeah, never certainly didn't see it in theaters. I only would have been 3 or 4 probably when it came
Yeah.
out. So
Mike says, "Poor Unfortunate Souls," which is Ursula's song, is my favorite song from the movie, followed by "Under the Sea."
dude, I mean, no Disney villain is bested when it comes to songs. Let's just admit that.
Absolutely.
Every villain has the best song.
Absolutely, there are villains that get
Now,
bested.
Be
but
Prepared, greatest song in Disney's canon, right there. Scar, he's the man.
I'll tell you, there are Disney villains that get bested in their own movie by songs.
No way.
Yeah.
Villains always have the best songs, sir.
Yeah.
And they're always the best characters, too.
No, stop it. You haven't even seen some of the classic, like I say classic.
I
but
saw
some
all
of
the classics.
No, some of the best Disney stuff was late '90s, and you stopped watching Disney by then.
Nah.
I'm telling you right now, dude. You go watch Hercules, Mulan, and Hunchback of Notre Dame. I've never seen Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I've seen Hunchback.
but go watch Mulan.
I didn't realize it until like in the last couple years because I was like thinking of a song from that, and I didn't realize it was from that. I'm like, what the fuck is this Disney song? So I like typed a couple lyrics and it came up as Hunchback. I'm like, oh, I guess I saw that because I knew the song.
Yeah.
So I must have seen that one at least. So
My wife says she would go around and do "Part of Your World" on any rock or piece of wood I saw. The whole up on the rock with the waves coming up behind her. That's what she's
yeah.
talking about. She would do that scene.
oh man, well this has been good. We're a little bit. Oh, I guess we're about 5 minutes over, just like we were at Dark Tower.
We're running long this weekend.
Yeah,
Hey, it's
well,
a long weekend though.
I would say the other
So-
thing too is lists. We still got to figure out because I haven't even looked at the time until now,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm glad I didn't because I would have felt a little bit run. We gotta. I don't know. Lists.
I
are-
have an idea.
we've been fine. I think
Yeah.
this helps us a lot too because we're not bouncing back to other topics that we've already covered.
Yeah,
so
I have an idea for top 10 lists that I want to run past you after the show.
all right.
remind me.
So we do not have a closing argument. We were talking recently that we want to potentially try to prioritize that a little bit to actually
I know we haven't had one for a while, but
spend some time.
Our episodes have been.
You know what we need to do? Just put them at the top of the show.
Do it at the start. I mean, it's called closing arguments. We could just rename it. and
It's
call
not closing of the episode. It's just closing arguments in terms like in court. It would be the closing arguments when
Yeah.
the guy has no interruption to just lay
Sure.
out his case. So we could call opening arguments. No,
That's what I was just about to say. Is like we could make an opening argument.
no, but like I say, closing arguments. That's where you're just like really trying to put the button on your case. You
Sure.
get your suspenders going, and you're like,
Here's why my client is not guilty.
she.
She?
Yeah.
Oh, she here.
So maybe we'll do that. I guess I could transition the slide. I turned the stupid screens. So yes, maybe we'll do that. And maybe we'll try that next time. Just because I feel like we're never having time when we get to it, but I want to do it because I think it's a fun idea. And then
Let's go for it.
good old Mikey.
Yeah.
Next up, we have emails. If you want to email us, maybe tell us your list, even if it's after the fact or whatever, or show ideas, anything. Tell Peter why Empire is far superior to Star Wars.
Explain to Tab why he's wrong and that the Empire is not the just government.
Do that over at send us emails at peter@geekeryabides.com or tad TADD at geekeryabides.com. We will get that. This is probably our heaviest email episode. We had 2 lists emailed and then the question on the Breaking Bad podcast. So big email episode.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
Definitely open to those. Send them on in. Like I said, I'm the odd episodes. Peter's the even if you have show ideas or whatever.
So
send them
next
on
episode is mine.
Yeah, which let's go on and transition over to that next time on Geekery Abides, which we've discovered 90 seconds before we went live.
We're going to talk about the Terminator franchise.
I wish
Terminator
I had
1,
a
Terminator
button.
2, dun 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 dun.
It's great, so great. You know what really breaks my brain? Have you listened to the score of the first one?
No, Tad,
No,
I've
just-
never listened to the
You've watched
score
the
of a
movie, though.
Yeah.
Next time you watch the movie, pay attention to the music.
Okay.
Pay attention. You probably know all the music from T2. It's pretty.
Sure.
Well, that's the same composer.
From-
Stylistically, those are so fucking
yeah.
different.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the same dude.
But it's years apart.
And he's hardly done anything else. Like he wasn't like a big composer, did a lot of shit. But it breaks
Okay.
my brain because I remember after watching T1 for the first time, Terminator the original, as an adult, I was just like, oh yeah, whatever. And then like Spotify, one of the first things I did is started looking at some scores. And I found Terminator 1. I'm like listening to it. It's got some synthy feel. I'm like, God, this is like so different. I wonder who. And I looked it up, and I was just like,
no.
what the fuck, dude? Because like John Williams, it feel not always the same because he has different stuff, whatever. But you always know a John Williams score. Hans Zimmer, you know a Hans Zimmer score.
Yeah.
This guy, he did those two, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? But yes, we're going to talk T2, Terminator in general franchise, not T2.
Yeah.
Heavily probably talk about some T2 because it's incredible.
I'm going to have to watch a Terminator movie. I've never seen the newest one. Are we talking the whole franchise?
It's your topic, sir. Yes, you were under the gun to come up with the topic, but it was your topic.
Let's,
so. Unless you want to say trilogy?
I'm going to do trilogy.
Okay, Terminator.
I know it
trilogy.
says franchise, but I'm going to amend it. Let's do trilogy.
Okay.
T1,
I can't
2, and
change the
3.
slide now, but we will
No.
change it on the YouTube.
I'm calling an audible, Ted.
Okay.
Audible,
So
audible.
Terminator 1, 2, and 3.
Terminator 1, 2, and 3.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
I think a trilogy's long enough. And I think I'm going to try a new format for the show, too. So stay tuned.
Yeah, so we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're back on schedule. As Lydia says in the chat, a fortnight.
Yeah, I absolutely will be telling that story. So,
So yeah, we'll be back in a couple weeks for.
or she could send in an email and tell us about it.
We'll
read it.
For the Terminator trilogy. We'll be talking about that. Really excited for that. And if you're an American, happy 4th of July coming up here.
Woo! Blow stuff up.
No better
Not
way
your
to
fingers, though.
no better way to celebrate the independence of your country than blowing up a small piece of it.
I love that. It's
Well,
so
it's
fun.
one of my favorite Simpsons little lines for 4th of July. But yeah,
No, that will never happen, Mike. Nope. It says new format. Peter agrees with Ted. Mm-mm.
Oh, we'll
No.
we'll get you there, sir. I'm slowly wearing you down.
Nope. No.
But yeah, we'll close out as we always do by saying, "Let your geek flag fly high." That is a hard thing to say. You said it
Let
earlier.
your geek flag fly.
Yeah. Love what you love. Don't let anyone else tell you any different.
There's no such thing as guilty pleasure.
And yeah, if you ever get a DeLorean, hit me up. I got some movies that we got to go watch.
we got to go back to 1968.
That's dude. What
That's
a crazy year.
banger year.
But yeah, we will see you guys in a fortnight for Terminator trilogy, and we'll sign off and see you then.
Bye, everyone.
All right, thank you all in the chat. I feel like Mike and Lydia for sure, but wasn't there somebody? Yeah, Alan earlier.
And Carol. So she was.
Oh yeah,
listening
yeah.
while
Carol was.
She was driving though.
Yeah, driving, listening at the beach. So, Carol, hope the beach is treating you well. We obviously
Jealous.
envy you with that.
Jealousy.
Yeah, indeed. Beaches are wonderful, and especially a beach like that. All we have here is a beach covered in. The water's like 100 yards away now, and all it smells like is rotting brine shrimp or brine.
stinky.
Yeah, it's very nasty. But that's all we have here. So. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you all. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye, everyone.